na diva is a female version of a hustler, of a hustler, of a hustler. Na diva is a female version of a hustler, of a hustler, of a hustler. Stop the track, let me say facts. I told you give me a minute and I'll be right back. 50 million around the world and they said that I couldn't get it. I done got so sick and filthy with binges I can't spin. How you gon' be talking? You act like I just got a pity. Been the number one diva in this game for a minute. I know you read the paper, the one that they call a queen. Every radio around the world know me 'cause that's where I be. Na diva is a female version of a hustler, of a hustler, of a hustler. Na diva is a female version of a hustler, of a hustler, of a hustler. When he pull up, wanna pop my hood up, bet he better have a six pack in the cooler. Getting money, divas getting money. If you ain't getting money, then you ain't got nothing for me. Tell me something. Tell me something. Where your boss? Where your boss? When my ladies up in here, they like to talk like I wanna see ya. I like to meet ya. What you say? She ain't no diva. Na diva is a female version of a hustler, of a hustler, of a hustler. Na diva is a female version of a hustler, of a hustler, of a hustler. Since 15 in my stiletto, bitch, ending.
Billionaires are destroying public education in this country to revive Jim Crow white supremacy, and corporate media is largely ignoring it. And we need to talk about it. Here where I live in Chicagoland, billionaire Michael Sachs has been at the forefront of shutting down public education. Under Mayor Rahm Emanuel, he helped shut down 50 public schools on Chicago's South and West Side, devastating Black and brown communities. Billionaires want you to think this is about fiscal responsibility. It's not. It's about power. It's about greed. It's about white supremacy. And worse, it's part of a national coordinated effort by billionaires to destroy public education. Tell them, George.
In 1954, the court ruled in Brown v. Board of Education that every child, regardless of their race, deserves equal access to quality public education. It was a landmark ruling that was led and spearheaded by the genius Thurgood Marshall in the NAACP. And it was immediately revived by the Southern governors and the racists who refused to accept that Black children deserve the same quality of education as them white kids. 70 years later, the children and the grandchildren of those same racists are now wearing suits and writing checks, and they're dismantling their vision from the inside. And the receipts are damning.
So yes, let's list those receipts. Remember former Trump Secretary of Education Betsy DeVos? Her American Federation for Children spent $9 million to remove 40 incumbent lawmakers because they opposed school privatization. The Bradley Foundation spent another $7.5 million to push conservative school privatization across the country. And remember the Koch brothers? Well, Koch-affiliated groups have spent more than $1 million to create the nation's first universal private voucher in Arizona. And meanwhile, billionaires like Jeffrey Yass, Richard Uihlein, and Bernard Marcus are all funding the School Freedom Fund. That's a PAC explicitly designed to shut down the Department of Education permanently. And guess what? Last March, Trump ordered that shutdown. But the question is, why are they doing this?
Because it's all about the funds, the moneyons, the cream. It's all about the Benjamins. You know, them school voucher programs, they disproportionately benefit the wealthy white families, not the Black and Latino or working class communities they claim to serve. This is not education reform, y'all. This is racial segregation rebranded as a school choice. This is not education reform. Trust me, I have a master's degree in education, and I know segregation means rebranded as school choice. You ain't tricking nobody. They get the financial win, your tax dollars redirected towards private institutions, and they get the racial win, resegregated schools that leave Black and brown children on the margins even behind. And so many of these private schools are tied to right-wing Christian nationalism, the same type of extremism that justifies slavery and Jim Crow in the first place.
But public education was never just a policy. It was a promise. A promise that in this country, every child, regardless of zip code or income or race, deserves a fair shot, an equal shot. That promise was won through struggles, through marches, through spilt blood in the streets, through the legal genius of scholars like Thurgood Marshall and countless more civil rights activists, lawyers, and humanitarians, and through the sacrifices of every Black family who endured immense violence and opposition just to have the right to send their children to school. We cannot allow exploitative billionaires to buy that promise back from us, which is why it's critical we listen to the Black scholars leading the way.
My
Hey
motto
guys,
is
it's Delta time. It's 9:13. We are up live on Facebook. Be sure to like the WVON page, interact with me. I'll talk back with you. If you would like to keep up with me exclusively, be sure to follow me across all social media platforms at Follow Cleopatra. Be sure to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Check me out there. Tell the church. Listen, guys, we're getting into education. In fact, I have a school board member who will be joining me in studio to talk about the strike down. You know, there was a thing that happened, and then some other things that are happening that we're going to talk about with Michilla Blaise in a little bit. But did you hear the word? Now, we've had him on the show. That was Conscious Lee, who he tossed it to, the black scholar. But you heard a few names. And when it comes to this school board race, there are a few players, and there are a number of influencers that are weighing in on the weight that is in this race and the weight of money, greed, capitalism. I struggle with which clip I was going to play, but I may play another one because this brother does the rounds on MS Now and he got down too. I want to hear from you. 773-591-1690. I just saw a commercial that made me laugh, actually, of another candidate hanging at the bus stop, which I thought was just the weirdest place to hang out to say, hey, I'm in this. But okay. Folks are going to be making their pitches to drive a constituency base. But I find it rather peculiar of their involvement in Chicago public schools. I think if you've survived CPS as a student, as a teacher, hey, you got my undivided attention. You ever ate them school lunches? What about that super donut? That little square, that rectangle shape of a pizza. You know something about that? Oh, don't let me talk about Sloppy Joe Tuesday. Now that I know better, it's just special meat on a Tuesday. You don't know what kind of meat you're eating, but you're just happy to eat. I say that with a smile every time they punch my car because I have free and reduced lunch. If you know something about that, now you got my undivided attention. Because I anticipate that you're going to do something about that. Because the food that your children have now, I wouldn't feed it to my dog. And Curly don't got no teeth. That's my other dog. So she couldn't even enjoy it if she tried. That's how bad it is. Okay? But she'll sure fight you for it. She'll try. She'll try. And I love it about Curly. But Chewbacca, my other dog, he gonna walk right away from me. So let me be clear. We're in a fight for our lives. Meanwhile, the billionaire class is weighing in. I've been preparing for my shows this week, and it's going to be a foci on this billionaire class from the lens of the eruption of the system. Some of you all believed at one point in the cement of the rise of civil rights in its era that we had arrived. That's the generation of my mother ilk. This attitude of, this picket fence and their parents being able to have access. And it was all a lie. It was pseudo. So here it is. They're playing in our faces with our children, and not just their future, but our future goes with it. It's the reason why I've been bringing in the youth, because I believe the mouths of babes. Children are so matter-of-factly, they'll let you know real quick, your breath stank. Why you dressed like that? You sure you want to wear that outfit? What kind of car you drive? The way you shop at? They ask the quiet parts out loud because they know not better. And I love the purity of it all. Why my classroom like this? How come we don't have what they got? If they only knew that it was better and they had less than. So the intentionality and the cruelty of how we treat children and this public sphere is wrong. And yet, we'll allow them to come in and close our schools. But there's an opportunity of some sustainable school conversations to be held. A lot of folks say, well, where are you getting that from? And why you want to talk about that? Because that is a practice that works. It works nationwide. And if ain't broke, don't fix it. I want to hear from you. When you hear the name Michael Sachs, do you tremble in your boots? Do you recognize the man that was behind the man? No, because it was designed to be like that. But now his name has surfaced because he's becoming more and more emboldened with the plays he's making politically. But when it comes to our children, now I'm Mama Bear. See, I was fighting bears even before I was a mother. But now I'm cemented as Mama Bear. I box a bear. Not just for mine, but yours too. And if we had any sense, we'll fight them together. Because to come for the education is to come from the foundational principle of their life existing, not only righteously, but morally, ethically, and those that are deservingly of a chance. So we're going to have this conversation. I want to hear your thoughts, especially when you think about evangelical. Some of y'all smacking on your Chick-fil-A right now. Can't even pull up on a Sunday. It is real what is happening. And if you knew the players that were behind the shadows, allow me to reintroduce them. We'll be back.
More from Cleopatra coming up next on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Shop small with Wintrust Bank and celebrate the heart of our community, our local businesses. Listen as we share a list of small businesses throughout our community that we can shop, dine, and support throughout the year. These businesses are the economic engine that drives our neighborhoods. Wintrust knows that. That's why they're Chicago's bank and why they're encouraging you to shop local. Keep listening for the Wintrust Community Business Spotlight campaign. With Wintrust, shopping small is a big deal.
Hey Alexa, play WVON 1690 AM.
Getting WVON 1690 AM station from iHeartRadio.
Try it out for yourself. America is listening to WVON.
When you play the Illinois Lottery, you're generating funds that support education. No matter the prize, Illinois wins. Play all your favorite Illinois Lottery games today to help raise more for education. Be smart, play smart. Must be 18 years or older to play. Game odds available at IllinoisLottery.com.
City updates don't wait, especially during the Air and Water Show. With the OEMC app, one tap gets you all of the alerts, weather information, and all of the safety updates. Stay smart, stay safe, and enjoy the show. Download today.
WVON, traffic and weather now.
Travel times are beginning to come down ever so slightly as you make your way along the Orion. You're looking at a 20-minute trip from 95th Street into downtown. Things were in pretty good shape and still are along the Bishop Ford and Tuskegee Airmen Memorial in both directions. DuSable Lakeshore Drive, not too bad. We are seeing some solid traffic as you make your way southbound right there at Wilson. That's due to an earlier accident. Otherwise, not too bad along DuSable Lakeshore Drive in either direction. The Stevenson down to a 40-minute trip from I-355 to DuSable Drive 40 traveling out. You're down to 55 minutes along the Eisenhower from Thorndale to the Burns Circle. That outbound trip will take you 45 minutes. And the Kennedy still pretty heavy in both directions. Give yourself 38 minutes in from O'Hare to downtown. Still a 40-minute trip to the airport. Taking a look at our weather, as promised, we're beginning to see some bright, beautiful skies. The National Weather Service says we're headed toward a daytime high of 86. Tonight, temperatures are expected to level off at around 66. Temperatures steadily climbing through the 70s. We're up to 78 at Midway. It's 78 in West Englewood and 78 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm NF Lenoy on the Talk of Chicago. 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And we are back. The time is 9:24. And today we're discussing education. You know, I look forward to this conversation with Michilla Blaise. She serves as a board member on the Chicago Public Schools Board. And there was a huge meeting that happened last week, but we had some coverage exclusively reported by our youth who were definitely in attendance. But I played this clip to introduce us to some of the players, right? There's big money being spent in this race for Chicago public schools. And it makes me beg the question, why do you care so much to own the schools? Particularly in the sensitive space that we're in, where your president, Donald John Trump, has struck down diversity, equity, and inclusion, but has raised up those that didn't earn it in all kind of ways. So it made me ask the question of the day. Can you name 2 unqualified cabinet positions holders? I'm interested as we wait for the confirmation to sail through for acting Attorney General Todd Blanche. Senator Sheldon Whitehouse filleted him. There are some, from a desirability standpoint in journalism, there are some senators I would love to keep company with. He's one of them. I enjoy him actively as he engages with Lawrence O'Donnell. But I also pay particular attention to him during my C-SPAN time, quiet time, of when I watch the sessions that transpire. And he's brilliant. He's brilliant. And it was no denying. Now, I'll give it to Senator Dick Durbin, who was first up to bat, given his seniority. And, the theme of cop beaters. This $1.776 billion anti-weaponization fund for the insurrectionist thugs that stormed the White House and brutalized and beat cops, and defecated in one hand and smeared it on the walls of Congress in the other, in the name of patriotism. See, I graphically want to put it together so that you can understand the level of patriotism and the get-her-done attitude that they had as they climbed the walls. The same people that were mad that in Mexico, when they climbed the walls in the halls of Congress. And in fact, they awarded one of the family members that was shot dead by Secret Service when they vehemently warned her not to come in. This is where we're at. And the deliberate intentionality of your president to pick 1.776, if you haven't figured it out, class, it's the era of 1776. You want to make America great again? Go back then. As I'm putting together this understanding of President Abraham Lincoln, I'm more and more fascinated into the mindset, the mens rea of where we are today of white America and the entitlements that we buck up against, which takes me back to the deliberate intent to infiltrate the school system. Where are the textbooks printed from? Anybody know? Give me a call, 773-591-1690. That'll tell you a lot about the control, the grasp, but here it is to completely dismantle and abolish public school systems as we know it, and the cruelty impacts indefinitely one class of people in this country over another. So I exclusively look forward to having this conversation when we come back. Normally I only play one clip, but I had to play this other brother because it will contextualize the history of what happened here not even a decade ago. 50 school closures was the largest of its kind in American history. And here you go. You have that person that was once the mayor of the city of Chicago with a desire to be the leader of the free world. With that attitude that impacted Black America, devastated Black Chicago, right? And filibustered and hindered a number of that group that were forever crippled in terms of their ability to take their place in society because of their class. This impacted and devastated working families or working poor families. That was it, and that was all. So with that being said, I want us to really weigh in on the school board and the school board race like nobody's business. And for those that say, well, all my children are grown, I don't have a dog in that race. My babies go to charter school. Your money go there. And if you're going to invest your money, don't you want the best in the return? If I can't speak to you to care about the children, maybe you can care about your dollar and making sure you get the best in return. Particularly as I asked on Friday, since some of you all got paid, did your paycheck increase? You got Haitians walking around with slave catcher anklets with the threat to being summoned back to their death. They're plunging the American health system. So if you can't think in 10, 20 years, who gonna care for you? Maybe you can invest now, since you can't hear me just to give a damn from a humanitarian standpoint, whether it's your child or not. Maybe you think about it in the long run. So invest now and don't suffer later. How about that? If that's the angle we got to take, whatever angle is necessary for you to hear this next conversation, I promise you I'm going to bring that hot tea. More when we return.
Another sunny, warm day in Chicago as temperatures climb into the mid-80s. Good morning, I'm Annette Flournoy, and here's what's happening. There's another shakeup at City Hall. Budget Director Annette Guzman is leaving. This comes as the city faces a projected budget deficit of around $90 million. Perry Williams has more.
Budget Director Annette Guzman's leaving 1 week after the city's chief financial officer, Stephen Marr, stepped down. Guzman says she's leaving to spend more time with her family. Meanwhile, Chicago faces a $90 million budget deficit. Deputy Budget Director Jonathan Ernst will serve as acting budget chief. I'm Perry Williams.
In a statement, Mayor Brandon Johnson said, I want to thank Budget Director Annette Guzman for her extraordinary leadership and dedicated service to the people of Chicago. Guzman said in a statement, I am deeply grateful to Mayor Johnson for the opportunity to serve, for his trust and his leadership. Meanwhile, all of this is happening with the mayoral election just 6 months away. Mayor Johnson is set to meet with his budget team tomorrow. Well, there are some new state legislation set to become law today. Later this morning, Governor Pritzker is set to sign insurance bills designed to protect home and car owners from excessive and unexplained rate hikes. Once signed, the law will give state regulators the ability to challenge auto and home insurance companies before they implement hikes. Now, the bills also will require insurance companies to issue at least a 30-day notice before your renewal date. Well, Governor Pritzker is encouraging parents to participate in the back-to-school state tax holiday. Pritzker says the tax holiday waives the state sales tax on back-to-school necessities. It'll happen from August 7th through the 16th. Officials say this 10-day period is expected to provide an estimated $10 million in savings to online and in-store customers on essential back-to-school items, including clothing, footwear, and school supplies. Well, communities across the country, as well as here in Chicago, will be spending the night outside. The National Night Out is happening tonight. This annual event is designed to promote police community partnerships and neighborhood safety. There are events planned across the city and suburbs. Some communities do it up big. Mayor Brandon Johnson will spend time at the 9th District and 5th District Park Districts. Now, here in Chicago, residents will get a chance to meet local police and fire officials and enjoy family activities and learn more about public safety. Well, that's a look at our news now on 1690 WVON. Traffic and weather up next. WVO News Time, 9:33.
Ada S. McKinley has a fantastic early learning and childcare program for kids from birth to age 5. Give your child a strong start. Quality childcare at 13 locations. Free and affordable options. Full days that are convenient for parents. Home-based services for expectant moms and their kids. And they welcome children with disabilities. Limited space available. Enroll now. Call 773-780-0050 or visit adasmckinley.org.
You never know who's going to stop by WVON.
I am honored to have join me in the studio. It's none other than the governor of the great state of Illinois, J.B. Pritzker. Welcome to WVON.
Thanks, Rufus. Great to be here.
Leader Jeffries, good morning and welcome back to WVON. Good to talk to you, good brother.
Good morning, Rufus. Great to be on with you.
Senator Tammy Duckworth, how are you?
It's great. It's great to be back. Thanks for having me on.
We are the talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Hi, I'm Tavis Smiley, inviting you to join me weekdays from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. right here on WVON. I am bringing you a national perspective on all the happenings in the black community and, of course, politics. It's talk radio for us, by us, and this is where America listens.
It's Tavis Smiley, weekdays from 6 to 9 p.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Have you checked out WVON's digital streaming network, Vaughn TV? It's everywhere on Roku, Apple TV Plus, Amazon Fire, on the WVON app, and at VON.TV. Vaughn TV, it's cultural content on purpose.
This report is brought to you by Try the new limited edition Orange Dreamsicle Frosty at Wendy's. Try the new Orange Dreamsicle Frosty at Wendy's. It's like walking down recent memory lane. To have Orange Dreamsicle Frosty in our timeline is truly something special, and we shouldn't let that moment pass us by. Be quick. It's only available for a limited time.
WVON traffic and weather now.
No major changes in your travel times, but we are tracking a couple incidents. This one is on the inbound side of the Ryan at Pershing Road. Apparently, there's a medical emergency in play. The two right lanes are blocked there at Pershing. State police are on the scene. And on the near west side, right now, Jackson is closed between Racine and Morgan. Apparently, there's some filming going on there until 1 this afternoon. CTA is rerouting the eastbound number 126 buses. Taking a look at our weather, turning bright and beautiful. The National Weather Service says we're headed to a daytime high of 86. Tonight, mild and 66. Temperatures are in the upper 70s right now. We're looking at 78 at Midway. It's 78 at 35th Street Beach and 78 degrees here as the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm Annette Flournoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
A lot of schools are closing across the country right now. Budget cuts, enrollment drop. But there's new data out that's showing that these cuts and these closes affect one group disproportionately. You guessed it, Black learners. Majority Black schools only account for less than 10% of all public schools in the U.S. But yet, a recent study found that they account for nearly a quarter of the schools that are being closed. And that's not just because Black learners find themselves in schools that are shrinking. In high poverty schools that lost half of their students, Black schools closed at twice of the rate of schools that did not serve mostly Black students. Let's connect that to something that I've been really sitting with this week. Only 17% of Black fourth graders can read at the appropriate level. So consider the chain reaction. He's already behind by the time he hits third grade. And then the one place that's trying to catch him up closes. And then he's displaced into a system that's unfamiliar and in many cases, not even better than the school that he had that already had him behind before it closed. As a civil rights attorney, I want to be very precise. It's not automatically wrong to close a school. Sometimes the facilities are unsafe. Sometimes it's just simply unavoidable. But when the pattern so consistently falls on one group over and over, again and again, that's not a mistake or a coincidence. That's a policy with a shape. Access to a stable education is a civil right, full stop. And every locked door, every displaced classroom becomes a harder gateway to the next step. Understand, this is not just about one school year. This is about whether a child ever has an opportunity to catch up at all. This is exactly the type of pattern that we need to start tracking closely. And so starting Monday, right here on my social media.
And we are back. The time is 9:38. You're listening to the Cleopatra Show. And of course, it's a turbulent Tuesday on the TCS. And live and in color, I have a school board member with me, Michilla. Michilla. See,
That's okay.
Michilla.
Yep. Or Kyla, if it's easier.
No, Michilla. I'm going to call you. That's what your mama call you?
She does.
Who named you?
My mother.
Okay, I'm going to respect mama in this moment.
Because she'll call you.
Michilla. I'm trying to tell you, when it comes to your baby, you better.
Mm-hmm.
And last name Blaise.
Correct.
Okay, I can do that. Just Blaise.
Mm-hmm.
So she's been blazing on the trail when it comes to defending children from 5B.
District 5B.
District
that's
5B.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And today, I thought it was important for us to weigh in on not just what happened about a week ago, but the current estate. But I want to get your take on what you just heard.
Do you know who that was? Who that
Yeah,
was?
it's a attorney that does the rounds on MS Now.
He is 100% correct. There's zero evidence that closing schools saves CPS money. Already, Black mothers and fathers drive the farthest to get to take their kids to school every day in CPS. It Wherever there's a closed school, violence increases, property values drop. Everyone and no one's saving money. That was the most interesting that I found. When they did a study, it saved, I think it was like 1/20th of the money that they thought they were going to save. So closing schools is literally an attack on a neighborhood.
And let's talk about that because, I wanted to just come in full throttle, as you already see, ripping off the Band-Aid, because where there's mercy doesn't always mean there's grace.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of folk like you check in, had babies, has the family, but Black women aren't giving grace, so we just take it. So I thought I'll just take it in this moment. Just as Chicagoans, mothers, you have participated in this hunger game. I'm embarking upon the journey. I don't look like what I've been through, but there are many days that I'm just emotionally just flustered. And that's the nicest way I can put it, with the disadvantages that are insistently being persistently distributed to my child.
100%.
Insistently. I'm so appalled on its face that I show up in the space. I do my own walkthroughs of these schools. I'm looking for standards. They swear somebody from the district done send me, but that ain't the case. I'm a former educator. But the caliber, the audacity that is being distributed, particularly to Black children, God damn it, I'm angry. I was angry as a student. Don't get me twisted. I've been like this a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But I was in somewhat formidable settings that were somewhat decent.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't New Trier decent. It wasn't Aviston Township decent. It wasn't Northside Prep decent. It wasn't Whitney Young decent. It was okay. And our children deserve more than okay. The fact that I'm here to tell the story, given what the weight of Black maternal health, especially in this era, make me want a box of bed, but I'll show up because I ain't fighting fair no more at this point. So when we consistently keep talking about school closures and, this school was built for 1,000 kids and only 200 go there. I mean, so what is the solution to not only bring it to equity, but to create a space in which you would send your child to?
Well, I think equity is the important word here. When people are thinking about school closings, we have to think about it comprehensively. And the solutions need to come comprehensively. Typically, in the past, they've come top down, right? ROM announces we're closing this based on enrollment numbers. We had kids moved all around. They were crossing gang lines. They were out of their element. And again, all the data shows when you take a child out of their neighborhood, they don't do better. There's so many parents also who think sending their kids to certain schools in certain neighborhoods, well, if I get them in this neighborhood, they'll be safer. The evidence showed they're not safer in that building. Those teachers are not as responsive. Those teachers are more likely to discipline them, particularly young Black girls. So we really have to think about this whole issue comprehensively. And we have to also remember the disinvestment over the decades. A block down from me is Marshall High School. My dad went there. There were 5,000 kids there. But in the area, there were factories. This is because I'm a certain age.
My daddy went to Farragut. I get it.
Right? So, but back in the 80s, the 70s and 80s, the West Side had a bunch of factories. And so having
working families,
having 5,000 kids in that school wasn't a challenge. When NAFTA happened, the factories all left, and so there was less population. At no point did CPS change the boundaries. At no point did CPS start thinking about how can we utilize the school differently? Can we make it a magnet school? In terms of its,
If I may interject,
yeah,
you also are referring to a city that is the most segregated in the world.
Right.
So changing the boundaries will welcome others where they don't want the welcome wagon to pull up.
100%.
Right. So if you kept the boundaries, then that would keep the conditioning, even if there is not a physical line across in the mind of the individual. This has always been ergo it shall be.
Right. Well, and the boundaries strangle the school.
Yeah, it's suffocated though.
When
Yeah.
there's not enough people in the area to fill, that school is the same size as Lane Tech. They have,
Limited its recruitment.
Yeah, they have 3 gyms. They have an Olympic-sized pool. They have a greenhouse on the roof. They have a giant commercial kitchen. They have amenities, but the area in which they can pull students from is so small that slowly but surely, less and less programs are available.
Now, why isn't that said enough? I think from a communicative standpoint, what you just did was a beautiful exercise. Often my listening audience refers to me as professor. I've earned that moniker.
Okay.
So class is in session, guys. So I want you to think about recruitment. So if you were the recruiter for Marshall High School and your parameter, give us a boundary.
I think they go roughly from, so they're on Kedzie, so I think it's something like Western to Pulaski.
Oh, that's a very small radius.
It is.
East to west.
Right.
So even with east to west, you know, if we don't change the roping, then you're not going to change the landscape, right? But when here's what pisses me off. When I'm scouting around, like certain schools, let's just say the South Loop. If you live within a radius, you can go there, even if you aren't admitted via selective enrollment. So it's selective for some that are on the outs, like what you're saying, and then the enrollment is open for those that are in the curve,
Right.
even if they don't meet the academic parameter that they seek, because their financial landscape is different than those that are of the selective boundary that desires to come within. That practice offends me. That practice itself is prejudicial on its face.
Yeah, it should offend you.
Because if we're going to set the parameter for academic performance, but then the locality enables you because of your financial ability via your parents, then if that's the case, open all of the lanes. Let them all come in, but you're not going to.
And then you end up with kids living across the street from a school that they can never go to.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is outrageous. But on the flip side, we have examples such as Kenwood High School. They have selective enrollment kids, they have magnet kids, and they have neighborhood kids. And the data there again shows that all boats are rising.
Yeah, I'm a Bronco.
Oh,
right.
Who am I talking to right
but
now?
again, just okay,
Yeah.
because I just seen Principal Karen Calloway Sunday. You ask Calloway right now if she could etch and sketch "I need money" across her front teeth, she would.
100%.
I've sat in the LSC about 2 years ago, where they robbing Peter to pay Paul. How is this possible?
With the extensive alumni they have, with all the efforts that they're made, but also Calloway is super ambitious. Like, shout out to Principal Calloway.
She is.
100%. She is going to take every cent she has and squeeze it and get the most out of it. They have a ton of clubs. They have their.
It is robust.
It's a really robust environment, learning environment for kids, and so. And also, that's her job. She's always going to try to bring in more resources for her.
But it
her
isn't
kids.
just her job. She is the premier principalship. But I was with Cal. I'm a founding member of Focus. I was with Calloway in her first year as a counselor. So to watch her flourish has been an honor, right? I can speak to her resume better than most, unless it's my classmates, my peers. But the point that I'm making is, shouldn't all principals be like this, right? But not all principals have her background.
Correct.
Not all principals rose up, right? So the ingenuity of a Calloway, I wish it did exist in every principalship, but systemically and structurally.
And that's the point.
That's
we
the
have
point.
To build it into the system so that whoever the operators are,
can thrive.
They've got the resources that they need. But there's clear examples such as Marshall and some other schools where they've just been allowed to sit and fester. The numbers are going down. Nobody's asking any questions.
But from a desirability standpoint, I think hearing that about Marshall breaks my heart because it reminds me of CVS. Like I've worked, so my background in Chicago public schools, I've been transformed, turned around, and closed down. That was the world that I was introduced professionally, and I still left with a $6 million portfolio because talent is within, right? I firmly believe wherever you put me, I was going to thrive. But that is my attitude. Some people, that's a setup for failure, right? And that's what happened to a number of our children, our teachers, our good leaders. I mean, after a while, it's just a whipping post. Hence why I'm no longer there. But the point that I'm making is, when we come back, I want to unpack this with you. When I think about this world-renowned facility you just expounded upon, which is Marshall High School. You can go up the street to Crane. Yep. I'm thinking of Crane, CTE, Career and Technical Education. I could think of CVS, CTE. Diesel mechanics come out of there. Airplane engineers come out of there. Wells, right? We have these state-of-the-art facilities that are underutilized, and then argumentatively, you'll hear somebody, either centrist or right, say, see, this is why you need to close them. Right? Because nobody's there. Nobody is there because many of the families can no longer afford the city, right? The desirability has not been as attractive when you don't have the budget to even market these things. And then two, the creativity of the rise of sustainable schools is now being the premier. I want you to expound upon what that truly means and how we can save a school like Marshall. How we can invest. My mother went to college. How you can invest in a Collins. How you can build up a CVS. Because if the dollars aren't in, then they're external. How do we find them? Listen, guys, I'm talking to school board member Blaise, and she is blazing this conversation as we talk about the future of Chicago public schools. We will unpack the budget more when we return.
Cleopatra, coming up next on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Hi, I'm Tavis Smiley, inviting you to join me weekdays from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. right here on WVON. I am bringing you a national perspective on all the happenings in the black community and, of course, politics. It's talk radio for us, by us, and this is where America listens.
It's Tavis Smiley, weekdays from 6 to 9 p.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Chicago, one night only, the Destiny's Child Iconic Reimagined Tribute, live at the Congress Theater, Saturday, August 29th. Experience the songs that defined a generation, reimagined. A 5-piece string ensemble delivers a fresh, symphonic take on the hits you love, blending contemporary sound with those signature harmonies and empowering lyrics. Narrated by Matthew Knowles, the management powerhouse behind Destiny's Child. Upgrade to VIP for an exclusive meet and greet. Tickets are moving fast. Get yours now at destinyschild.com. Say my name, Chicago.
Hey family, it's me again, Joan Colasso, Executive and Artistic Director of the amazing Timeless Gifts Performing Arts Program for youth and young adults. It's been a great summer, and now it's time for you to see the incredible talent we've been cultivating in 2026. As we present a Timeless Gifts Review, Sunday, August 9th at the Logan Center. Come and enjoy this amazing musical journey as we share some of our best experiences and productions over our 16 years, like Timeless, a musical review, Hit Me, Once a Hit, Always a Hit, and from our international tour in Milan, Italy, and much more.
You'll be dancing in your seat.
That's Sunday, August 9th at the Logan Center, 915 East 60th Street. For tickets and information, go to ticketfalcon.com/TG Summer 2026 and find us on social media at TimelessGifts_Chicago or call us at 312-808-0005.
Identity theft can cost more than you think. Drained investment accounts, stolen tax returns, lost wages, expenses for lawyers. It's a lot. That's why LifeLock is backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, which covers up to $1 million for stolen funds, fees, and experts and lawyers, and out-of-pocket expenses. Don't face the burden of identity theft alone. Protect your future and finances with LifeLock. Join now. Save up to 30% off your first year with promo code BECK at LifeLock.com. 1-800-LifeLock, promo code BECK. LifeLock.com. Terms to apply.
Get your outfits, grab your crew, and get on board with the Me Plus 3 special starting at $1,000 per person. This time, join the Foundation Fantastic Voyage 2025 cruise will be fun, entertaining, and this will be a once-in-a-lifetime event with seminars, fitness workouts, parades, concerts, and much more starting at $1,000. Call 214-495-1963 to book your Me Plus 3 cabin. Prices are based on 4 passengers in the cabin, so book today while they last and before cabins are sold out.
Alexa, play WVON 1690 AM.
Getting WVON 1690 AM station from iHeartRadio.
Try it out for yourself. America is listening to WVON.
WVON traffic and weather now.
Still no major changes in your travel time. Still tracking a couple incidents right now along the inbound Ryan in the express lanes right there at Pershing Road. There appears to be a medical emergency there. Emergency crews are on the scene along with state police. You want to be cautious as you pass that area. Also, right now we're still seeing on the near west side where Jackson Boulevard is shut down between Racine and Morgan is due to filming until this afternoon. CTA is rerouting the eastbound number 126 buses. Taking a look at our weather, bright, beautiful skies as promised. The National Weather Service says we're headed toward a daytime high of 86, a low tonight of 66. We're in the upper 70s. You're looking at 79 at Midway, is 79 at 35th Street Beach, and 79 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm Annette Flournoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Those were the times we had. Should've enjoyed that before the last. Memories of love and affection.
And we are back. The time is 9:57. And you're listening to the TCS, and it's a turbulent Tuesday. Now I got Michilla in the studio with me, School Board Blaise.
Hey.
And she is in here jamming. And we're jamming to the beat of the reality. Now I call it the Hunger Games. Zip code parents. When you are fighting just for the right. But then locally, we have these state-of-the-art facilities that are underutilized, occupied, but yet have so much potential.
Yeah.
So then the birth of the ingenuity of sustainable community schools comes along, and it's not new, but it's been practiced nationwide, and it is brought to Chicago, and the mayor just upped the ante with 15 more. Talk to me about your understanding of its value or devalue, if you see it as such, and what it potentially can mean for schools and the future of Chicago.
I think sustainable community schools are amazing because there is that investment in the schools. Just as we were discussing before the break, CPS allowing certain schools to languish and not thinking about boundaries and not thinking about programs that the residents want and so forth. With no investment into those schools, they're going to deteriorate. They're going to fall off. There's no outreach for them. Don't forget, I'm 5B on the west side. We have the most charter schools in the city. So charter schools infiltrated my district and started pulling at some of the people too. I have, most of the board members have somewhere between 20 and 40 schools. I have 64 schools in my district because there was a saturation of charter schools there, pulling at some of the students. And so, but when we think about sustainable community schools and what they have to offer, that investment is a game changer. So They'll offer health services. They'll offer mental health services. They'll offer adult education. So it's treating the whole family. It's educating the whole family, and it's also building that community. This is one criticism of sending your kids outside of your community for school. You lose, the community has lost a member. And when that kid walks home, they don't need a little grocery store to get some chips or stuff from. They don't have people outside paying attention to them. Community is deteriorated when we send our kids off to other areas. And I know parents are doing what they feel like they need to do for their children, but it really takes away from the community. And sustainable community schools start the residents to thinking, what do you want in your school? What could your school be? What do you need in your community? How can we keep folks here and take care of each other and learn each other's names and make sure that we are close and that our children are safe because they're amongst family? And how can we hold everybody up in the community?
Listen, guys, one word came to mind: vessel. Vessel. So when you're mulling over, as we go to break, we're going to come back with board member Blaise because the phone lines are blazing. 773-591-1690. When you think about community, sustainable community schools, I hear the word vessel. And in that vessel is what you want out of it. And there's an opportunity that is coming to a community near you because there are 15 more. So, and total, is it 45?
Yep, it's in that neighborhood.
All
for
right,
sure.
there it is. 45 sustainable community schools under the leadership of Mayor Johnson, of course, and with the support of some of the board members, not all.
That's right.
Some of the board members, which is wild. More when we return.
Turning clear and sunny as temps climb into the mid-80s on this Tuesday, August 4th, 2026. I'm Annette Flournoy, and in the headlines, there was no winner in last night's Powerball game. No one matched all 6 numbers on Monday, so the grand prize has jumped to $786 million. The next drawing is tomorrow night. There's another shakeup at City Hall. Budget Director Annette Guzman is leaving. This comes as the city faces a projected budget deficit of around $90 million. And Mayor Johnson is brushing off Illinois Secretary of State Alexi Giannoulias' recent decision to run for mayor. National news from the Black Information Network is next on the Voice of a Nation and the Talk of Chicago. 1690 AM WVON, Berwyn, Chicago. It's 10:02.
Here's BIN News Now.
I'm Mike Island with BIN News Now. It's another big primary election day in America. Michigan's Democrat U.S. Senate race is the star attraction today, with progressive Abdul El Sayed up against establishment-backed Congresswoman Haley Stevens. Here's El Sayed speaking outside a Detroit restaurant.
I believe in the opportunity we have in front of us to take our democracy back from the likes of the corporations and the billionaires and the special interests who want to tell us what we cannot have and should not fight for.
Ballots also are being cast in Missouri, Kansas, Virginia, and Washington State. In Washington State, there have been reports of looting following the Spokane wildfires, but police have investigated and say those reports are unfounded. Spokane police, along with members of the Washington National Guard, are patrolling the evacuated areas. Now back to Terry McCready.
President Trump says Iran reached out to the U.S. to stop a planned massive strike. Speaking to reporters at the White House yesterday, he said he was urged by several countries, along with Iran, to hold off on the strike.
I don't want to use the word begging, but some were, in particular, Iran did not want to be hit. And they said, we want to talk. We want to talk about the Strait.
Trump said he's expecting the Strait of Hormuz to be completely open by today, while talks to make sure Iran doesn't have a nuclear weapon continue. His comments come as Iran publicly declared that it has no plans to engage in talks with the U.S. Primary election day, and voters in Michigan, Missouri, Kansas, Virginia, and Washington State are heading to the polls. Here's Black chairperson of the Lansing, Michigan Elections Office, Divine Lloyd.
You can actually preview your ballot online before you come in to vote. Make sure you're making an informed decision and make sure you're voting.
Over 1 million Michigan voters have already cast their ballots in the Democratic and Republican races for governor, the U.S. Senate, U.S. House, State House, and State Senate. In Missouri's 1st congressional district, they're deciding whether Black pro-Israel incumbent Wesley Bell gets a second term or if he should be replaced with Black former progressive Congresswoman Cori Bush. The crowded field of candidates for mayor of Chicago is gaining one more contestant. Illinois Secretary of State Alexi Giannoulias has entered the race. He touted himself as a coalition builder and plans to hire more police and bring back ShotSpotter technology. Giannoulias mentioned that incumbent Black Mayor Brandon Johnson has not met the moment, but his heart is in the right place. He also told the Chicago Sun-Times that the current administration has become a revolving door of senior leadership, which makes it difficult for the city to get things done. Meanwhile, Mayor Johnson has yet to announce his intentions for the February election. Nearly a dozen residents in the Bay Area of San Francisco, California, have been detained by immigration agents at the airport, according to immigration lawyers and family. Attorneys say the detentions are part of a new Trump administration deportation crackdown at the airport. The Department of Homeland Security hasn't said how many have been arrested. Federal officials say the policy stops people without legal status from flying, but critics say even Trump's first administration didn't target travelers. Officials are warning immigrants with unresolved cases to avoid airports. Ghana's parliament passing a measure that could mean 20 years behind bars for cocoa farmers for repurposing their farms without government approval. The legislation would give all cocoa farms protected status, making it a criminal offense for them to be used for anything else without authorization, which farmers are criticizing. Many farmers invest their own money to acquire land, clear it, and maintain cocoa farms for years before earning any income, all while receiving little government support. Stay informed, stay connected, and subscribe. Follow VIN News this hour wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Terry McCready for the Black Information Network.
When you play the Illinois Lottery, you're generating funds that support education. No matter the prize, Illinois wins. Play all your favorite Illinois Lottery games today to help raise more for education. Be smart, play smart. Must be 18 years or older to play. Game odds available at IllinoisLottery.com.
This is Kamini Khan, certified financial planner professional. For the past year, I've been on a mission to change lives and build wealth in our community. Together, we're changing the paradigm. This year, I'm back with a new series, Wealth Strategies, Money Talks. Join me every Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. on the Rufus Williams Show as we have thoughtful discussions around building wealth in our community. We'll discuss topics like investing, savings, tax strategies, retirement, and all things money. Yes, that's Tuesday at 8:30 a.m., so set those alarms. Also, be sure to check out the podcast at WVONWealthShow.com.
Komini Khan is a certified financial planner professional with Optimal Planning Partners in alliance with Equitable Advisors, LLC member SIPC in Oak Brook, Illinois. For more information, please call 630-575-5046.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Mark?
I've been doing home remodeling for 30 plus years, but the economy crashed. I wound up losing my home, losing my job, and on top of that, owing the IRS a ton of money. I owed the IRS $114,000. It really, truly was the worst part of my life.
Then Mark found tax relief advocates.
On news radio, I heard about TRA, and I thought, what's the worst that could happen? So I picked up the phone and I called them. When it was all said and done, TRA settled my $114,000 debt for $100, and I'm telling you, I was ecstatic. Could not believe it. Would recommend TRA to anyone.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Mark did and call TRA for a consultation.
But TRA did. They gave me a second chance, and I'm forever grateful.
Visit TRA.com or call 800-575-8935. 800-575-8935. That's 800-575-8935.
Beauty is more than style, it's a story, and now you get to hear it straight from the source. Solo Beauty Supply presents the Hair Tour radio show, coming to WVON Saturdays at 2 p.m. From Chicago to the West Coast, top salon owners pull back the curtain on the business, the culture, and the grind behind the chair. From building brands to shaping communities, this is where beauty meets boss moves. Tune in, tap in, and take notes. The Hair Tour Radio Show, Saturdays at 2 p.m. only on WVON.
This report is brought to you by Jewel Osco. Shop Jewel Osco and catch the savings on seafood. Fresh Atlantic salmon fillets are $5.99 a pound. Limit 10 pounds. Plus, Waterfront Bistro 26 to 30 count easy peel raw shrimp is also $5.99 a pound. Limit 4 pounds.
Live from the Xfinity Studios at WVON, it's the Cleopatra Show on Chicago's essential storyteller, 1690 WVON.
And we are back. The time is 10:09. You're listening to a Turbulent Tuesday on the Cleopatra Show. And she's still jamming, y'all, like literally. She feeling. So Matt doing his job. And that's right, it's school board representative of 5B on the west side of Chicago. Some would say it's the best side, but there it is.
We do.
Michilla Blaise. All right. And little girl from the west side that came south side, you know. Shout out Jensen Scholastic Academy. Well, I can take you back into some time.
Wow.
Woo. This little girl right here that done grew to a wonderful young black free woman.
Amen.
Is controlling this mic, and we're talking about the things that are shaking up Black Chicago, particularly when it comes to every and anything education related. Now, folks were shaking in their boots about a week ago. Whether or not folk was going to be like Spike and do the right thing. And what was do the right thing? Was it to fire more than 1,000 teachers and hope for the best as children are getting ready to prepare to come back and or enter the Chicago public school system? Or was it to demand that the state come up with that money that they owe, even though they only agreed to $150 million, they owe about $3 billion. To fight or not to fight? That would have been the question. But yet there was a fight. And board member Blaise, walk us through that.
Oof. It was rough. Well, so it starts before that. The budget is introduced, and there are some assumptions in the budget, particularly when it comes to TIF funds, right? That's not guaranteed money. That's money that the mayor and city council typically give to CPS to fill in budget gaps just to be helpful. By their own constitution, let's remember that the state is supposed to pay for public education. Let's ground the conversation in that understanding. Built into the budget was a $100 million TIF surplus that was going to come back to CPS. I checked in with folks at City Hall. This is what I do whenever there's lots of information floating around. I just start making phone calls. And I don't trust what's necessarily just written down on the paper. I want to hear it from a person in that community, a person in that school. And in this particular case, it's the budget. So I called someone at City Hall. I said, do you all have this $100 million? And I was told, it's going to be tough this year. Because last year we had a record TIF surplus, if you remember that. It's going to be tough this year, but we're going to do that $100 million. I was like, great. Cut to 2 weeks later, so now this is a week before the budget, and the number just goes up to 200. Arbitrarily, there's more holes in the budget, and so they got to fill it up. Call City Hall again just to double check. Is the 200? Are we golden there? No, this is going to be a whole problem. So we don't have the 200. On Monday, before the budget vote on Thursday, there were a few board members and members of SEIU that rightfully so wanted to stop the furloughs that were built into the budget on the second half of the year. So they said with $85 more million in TIF money, we will not have to do those furloughs and some of the layoffs. I was like, absolutely, let's go. Are we going to get it? Not sure, but I will stand with you. I will fight with you. Then we're thinking we are about to codify 2,000 layoffs. And that's assistant principals, teachers, teaching assistants, librarians.
I'm thinking of the teachers, but in addition, ESP and custodial.
Yeah, there's, and And let's not forget that last year, built into the budget was 100 safe passage workers were laid off, 400 SICAs, I believe, were laid off. That hurt me to the core. I didn't feel like I came here to give our kids less. And so we're at this moment and we're like, okay, how about we make sure that the state has some stake in this game. We are going to demand $150 million in this budget from the state. The same way that we're demanding 285 from the city, let's get the state involved in this conversation, because our state funding, the percentage has dropped from 87% of the EBF fully funded formula down to 74%. So we're technically going backwards and more away from fully funded schools. And this was a moment we could stand 10 toes down and make sure that everybody in the state, the governor, and our representatives understand that this is not acceptable. We're not going to roll over for this. We're not going to fire 2,000 people because we haven't advocated. And if those firings have to happen, we're going to make sure where we lay the blame. And so as soon as we said the state should pay something, you would have thought the whole world ended. It was nuts. The budget department all of a sudden said I wasn't going to have a balanced budget when we know it's revenue and expenses. The legal department said they came up with every story in the world, and I said we're still going to introduce this amendment, and we held strong. We had that debate that day was amazing. We had some really good conversations, and we were able to pass the amended budget with only $150 million in addition from the state. So that's
and if I may, for those that are listening, it is 21 members, including the presiding president, 7 of whom did not support this amended budget.
Only 7, right?
And you say only. I got a problem with the damn 7 that did not approve this. But you sit on that board, so you rub elbows, ash your gnaw with those that are cutting you. The point that I'm making is, what was the rationale for anybody that voted against the amendment?
For me, my belief is that it's political. They want to keep laying trash at the mayor's feet.
I mean, because did anybody speak? Because it was 9 hours.
Sure.
You took a 2-hour session. So, I follow as religiously as I possibly can. But it was a very elongated meeting,
100%.
but one that rendered some results. So I appreciate all of you all for that. But yet and still, did any of the opposing members that voted against the amendment speak and give a rationale?
They said it would not result in a balanced budget. And then they used words like, we had magical thinking, that these are glittery ideas. Their messaging was extremely condescending. But beyond that, they didn't have a real rationale or explanation for why you could assume funds from the city and you can't assume funds from the state.
Now, and that is a great way to put it, because neither of you all work for the city or the state, because Chicago Public Schools is a sister agency, listening audience. But the board itself is an independent board that is now fully elected by you, right? So you all technically don't work for CPS either.
Oh,
and
it's
last
a
I checked,
volunteer
it's
job.
I'm tiptoeing there.
Get
Because
there.
you work for the people and you work unpaid as is, even though eventually you all will be petitioning, at least you should, for some form of funding that you got to go back to the piggy bank, which is the state. And I always teach the class this. Even your mayor, my mayor, Mayor Brandon Johnson, got to get down to Springfield to ask for the bag, because he's the presiding president. The way that the constitutional bylaws of this state is designed, it is designed for the presiding president to still come back to Springfield and ask for fiscal dollars if need be. So to your point, Board Member Blaise, for one to argue for one against the other makes no sense, even when it's constitutionally bound that the bag, the purse, the fiscal dollars, the reservoir, if you will, particularly from the federal level, resides, it trickles down state, and then is disseminated. So argumentatively, it's a farce on its face.
100%.
More when we return.
More from Cleopatra coming up next on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Tuned in to your favorite WVON personalities on Facebook Live? Don't just watch, like it, love it, share it. Every click helps us grow the conversation and keep the community strong. So remember, like it, love it, share it, Chicago.
Summer is here, the season of sunshine, swimming, picnics, and the freedom to have fun and enjoy yourself. United Fidelity Bank believes freedom starts with smart savings. Whether you're hanging with friends and family or enjoying a summer night, your money should still be working for you. Open a United Fidelity Bank 18-month certificate of deposit with a 4.25% annual percentage yield. It's a simple, steady way to grow your savings, letting your money work for you. At United Fidelity Bank, they focus on you, your needs, your goals, your questions. Their personal service is something you will not find at a big box bank. Get the experience you need and the service you deserve. Stop by their Chicago flagship branch at 1701 West 87th Street to open your 18-month 4.25% APY CD today, or visit UnitedFidelity.com. United Fidelity Bank, where your summer of smart savings begins. Rates subject to change at any time. CDs renew automatically at the standard rate in effect at the time of renewal unless instructed otherwise. Member FDIC.
Identity theft can cost more than you think. Drained investment accounts, stolen tax returns, lost wages, expenses for lawyers. It's a lot. That's why LifeLock is backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, which covers up to $1 million for stolen funds, fees, and experts and lawyers, and out-of-pocket expenses. Don't face the burden of identity theft alone. Protect your future and finances with LifeLock. Join now. Save up to 30% off your first year with promo code BECK at LifeLock.com. 1-800-LifeLock, promo code BECK. LifeLock.com. Terms to apply.
Get your outfits, grab your crew, and get on board with the Me Plus 3 special starting at $1,000 per person. This time, join the Foundation Fantastic Voyage 2025 cruise will be fun, entertaining, and this will be a once-in-a-lifetime event with seminars, fitness workouts, parades, concerts, and much more starting at $1,000. Call 214-495-1963 to book your Me Plus 3 cabin. Prices are based on 4 passengers in the cabin, so book today while they last and before cabins are sold out.
It's Rufus Williams.
Chris, good morning. Welcome to VON.
Ain't no jive on the morning drive with Rufus Williams. Thank you, brother.
Weekdays at 7 a.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
WVON, traffic and weather now.
The inbound Ryan, just a 17-minute trip from 95th Street into downtown, outbound free flowing. No problems or delays to report along the Bishop Ford or Tuskegee Airmen Memorial. DuSable Lakeshore Drive northbound moving well until you get to Roosevelt Road. A few brake lights there and stop and go to Monroe. Hollywood to Monroe, no problems there. If you're on the Stevenson, expect a 35-minute trip from I-355 to DuSable Drive 35 traveling out. Eisenhower, 55 minutes from Thorndale to the Burns Circle. The outbound trip will take you 45 minutes. And the Kennedy, moving along at 30 minutes in from O'Hare to downtown. Getting to the airport expects 25 minutes there. As promised, bright skies. The National Weather Service says we're headed to a pleasant, warm 86 today. Tonight, temperatures leveling off at 66. We're still in the upper 70s. It's 79 at O'Hare, 79 in Altgeld Gardens, and 79 here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm Annette Flournoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Now you playing my birthday twin between Mariah Carey, Brandon Johnson, and Cleopatra Draper. March 27th, got to be a national holiday. The diva at her finest, Mariah Carey. Then I got Michilla Blaise in the studio, school board member, making it plain, laying it out. Folks were quivering in their boots. Why they didn't want to ask the state or demand of the state anything. When we fight, we win. And if you don't fight, then you starve. Black Chicago, can you hear me? Don't fight for what you believe. Don't fight for your community schools. Don't fight to change these boundary lines. I went to Poe. Poe said, well, we don't have boundary lines. But if you go to the neighbor iteration of Poe on the north side, like I just said, and little white baby live in the radius, you ain't going to tell that white family that if they baby ain't selective enrollment, that they can't go here because they address indicate that they're qualified. Mm-hmm. Now, stop me when I'm lying. I challenge you because Lord knows, my husband be like, do we got to go to this? Yeah, because I need to know what they doing too. I have been on the school tour for the past 2 years.
Yeah.
And it is frightening.
Well, you have to at least, I came in onto the board with a great deal of mistrust, but you have to have at least a minimum of distrust for the systems that have put us where we are. So even me, when
Can I enhance one word? You said put. I'm going to say kept.
Kept, right.
Now, for those of us that don't want to fight, you will stay. Keep going.
Well, as soon as I'm trying to introduce this amendment, the lawyers are coming after me, the budget, everybody is saying this is impossible. With a little research, this has happened in the past. The finger was pointed at the state for 2 years in a row, and the state didn't actually give the funding, but it did pass the EBF and the next year, which resulted in the largest influx of cash to CPS in history. So you have to fight. You have to fight.
And it's so funny
think
because
long game.
When I first started in the board, I used to hear, especially from old heads, oh, you got to do this because when the state comes. I always was trained. You with the state? Who with the state? Who works for the state? In the almost 10 years I was with the board, I never saw a member of the state. But ISB is the selling point of the state. Right. So if you're going to be the body, then you have to be the financial dispensary too, to keep it afloat, to keep it just, to keep it equitable.
That's right.
To this point, I couldn't identify a state ISB member if they were in a lineup.
Right.
But the conditioning of, when the state comes, you better bring my check. Look, I'm going to these phone lines.
Right.
773-591-1690. Dale got an answer to my question. And I had asked, let me ask you, School Board Member Blaise, where are books printed in the country? Who disseminates the books that are in our education system?
Are there even books? My kids, everything is online.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
This is true.
True that.
Well, let's just say printed books. Do you know?
No, I don't.
All right, we're going to learn today. Let's talk to Dale. Dale,
okay, Dale,
talk to us. Welcome to WVON.
Yeah, thank you for taking my call. I can give you the state that, unfortunately, not the cities, but Texas.
That's right.
It's the number one publisher of textbooks for elementary, secondary, high school, and college.
Yes.
And I just don't know if it's either between Dallas and Houston. I believe that is where they're located at.
Yes, sir. Excellent.
Yeah.
You've definitely earned that extra credit. Good call.
All right.
Thank you. So there are times when I give our classmates extra credit. He definitely earned that.
Right.
Let's keep it going.
Just to circle back to sustainable community schools, they actually get to develop their curriculum as well.
And that's power.
It's so much power.
Is that why the evangelicals are mad? Let's keep it going. Let's talk to Zoe. Zoe, talk to us. Welcome to WVON.
Grand Rising, Peace Queen. How you doing this morning?
I'm on fire. It's a turbulent Tuesday. Talk to me.
Listen to me, my sister. Every day at 10 o'clock, I got my ears locked on the Queen in Chicago. I want to say Midday Madness, Perry Small lives in my heart. Happy birthday to Miss Span Cooper.
Yes.
Peace out. Shout out. Peace to Matt, Titus, and Rufus. And that Sister Blaise in the studio with you. Thank you for giving a damn about our kids.
That means so much.
I appreciate that. Y'all have a good one.
Good call. Look at that. Look at you getting some flowers today.
Already.
That's what I'm talking about. Let's talk to Michael O'Connor. Michael, talk to us. Welcome to WVON.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
We've had issues with our our children being taught in public schools ever since 1787, when the Reverend Prince Hall petitioned the Massachusetts state legislatures for equal education facilities. Sarah Robbins did it in Boston, and that was in 1849. Not now. When we deal with here in Chicago, CPS segregation, in 1863, there was a city ordinance that required school segregation. In 2013, when Rahm Emanuel closed 50 schools, he displaced 11,000 black students were displaced because of the closures of these schools. And the question that I have is, from school board perspective, they have what they used to have, and please update me, student enrollment budgeting, which means that any student, schools got funding based on how many students actually were enrolled in the schools. And because of the closures of the schools, it displaced the funding for those students. So my question is, I go back to SB 7 because I used to be in Springfield with my boss at Illinois, an Illinois General Assembly member, Connie Howard. And I remember when Monique Davis and then used to do these budgeting legislation. So my question for the board member is, one, are they still dealing with that budget system that Rahm Emanuel created when they closed the 50 schools and Dairy went along with the issue in terms of that funding? Because SB 7 and the other pieces of legislation to ensure that our children got educated every year, like you were saying, people have to go down to Springfield, and I don't understand why there's not been a mass movement to make sure that our children were educated. The teachers union used to do it, and I think they still are doing it.
Right.
But what are we doing with the other situations in terms of those individuals that we send to Springfield to represent us? I think it was 19. I don't know how many it is now, but it was 19 black legislators that were from the Chicago district. Now we control, Chris Emanuel, he's head of the House now.
Michael, I am well past my break. I got to let you go.
Okay. Well, thank you, and continue to educate me.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Now, school board member Blaise, I'm going to have her over. She got to run to the bathroom. I'm going to push Professor Gowder, okay? And when we come back, we're going to have her respond to Michael O'Connor.
Yes.
And, of course, Mama D is on the live line. She ain't here to talk to me. She won't talk to you, and I know that.
Okay,
more
Mama
when we
D.
return.
Another sunny, warm day in Chicago as temps climb into the 80s. Good morning. I'm Annette Flornoy, and here's what's happening. There's another City Hall resignation. Now, Budget Director Annette Guzman is stepping down. She says to spend more time with her family. This comes just 1 week after the city's acting chief financial officer, Stephen Marr, resigned. Now, she had been at City Hall for 10 years. Before that, she had senior financial roles at Cook County. Deputy Budget Director Jonathan Ernst will serve as acting budget chief. Right now, Chicago faces a $90 million budget deficit. Meanwhile, all of this is happening with the mayoral election just 6 months away. The mayor is set to meet with his budget team tomorrow. Well, Mayor Brandon Johnson says he's not sweating Illinois Secretary of State Alexi Giannoulias' decision to run for mayor. Perry Williams has more.
The mayor became passionate concerning his own resume, mainly his handling of the migrant crisis.
My administration stood up for this city when there were no solutions across this globe of how to respond to a global population shift and migrants being shipped to create political turmoil.
Without stating names, Mayor Johnson added that there are people seeking office that are claiming that they will close schools. Janulius mentioned in a recent interview that it was time to look into the possibility of school closures. I'm Perry Williams.
The 97th annual Bud Billiken Parade kicks off in Bronzeville this Saturday. Tens of thousands are expected to Lion King Drive for this historic annual back-to-school send-off. WVON's Kayla Patton has more.
The 97th annual Bud Billiken Parade, which kicks off this weekend on Saturday with a back-to-school festival and will showcase some of the best and brightest of Chicago's talent. Earlier this morning, WVON's Cleopatra Draper exclusively interviewed President and CEO of the Chicago Defender and Bud Billiken Parade, my E.T. Sinsteak Rice, on what we can expect this Saturday.
Lisa Ray McCoy, we're so excited to have her as our Grand Marshal. It's like she's coming home. That's why it's special having her here, because she's not just coming here just to go down the procession and wave and say, hey, I'm Lisa Ray, everybody look at me, whatever. It's more than that. She's actually coming home and she's investing back into the community, and she is also committed to reaching out, especially to the Royal Court kids.
The back-to-school parade will feature heart-pumping performances from the local Jesse White Tumblers, Golden Knights drill team, Chi-Town cheerleaders, Next Level dance team, and Little Ladies of Virtue. Kayla Patton, Our News Now, 1690 WVON.
As the Bud Billiken Parade sparks the unofficial start to the new school year, Governor Pritzker is encouraging parents to participate in the back-to-school state tax holiday. Pritzker says the tax holiday waives the state sales tax on back-to-school necessities from August 2nd through the 16th. Now, officials say this 10-day period is expected to provide an estimated $10 million in savings to online and in-store consumers on essential back-to-school items, including clothing, footwear, and school supplies. Well, that's a look at Our News Now on 1690 WVON. Traffic and weather up next. WVON News Time, 1036.
Hi, Zoe Saldana. Welcome to T-Mobile. Here's your new iPhone 16 Pro on us.
Thanks. And here's my old phone to trade in.
You don't need a trade-in. When you switch to T-Mobile, we'll give you a new iPhone 16 Pro. Plus, we'll help you pay off your old phone up to $800, and you still get to keep it.
There's always a trade-in.
Not right now at T-Mobile.
I feel like I have to give you something in return for karma.
That's okay.
I don't really have much in my purse. Oh, let's see. Hand sanitizer. It's lavender.
I'm good. Seriously.
Let me check this pocket. Oh, mints?
Really, I'm fine.
Oh, I have raisins. I'm a mom. Wait 1 sec. I've got cupcakes in the car.
It's our best iPhone offer ever. Switch to T-Mobile. Get a new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on us. No trade-in needed. We'll even pay off your phone up to $800.
With 24 monthly bill credits, new line $100 plus a month on experience beyond finance agreement $999.99 and qualifying forwarded. For well qualified plus tax and $10 connection charge. Pay off via virtual prepaid card over 15 days. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. See T-Mobile.com.
It's the afternoon show.
You got to remember, when we do it, it's called flued out.
We flued him.
Girl, he flued me out.
Oh, my. Don't,
That's
why
right.
are you putting my people down?
No, I'm just so. That's what we call it. That's what it is.
Out. You've had this conversation with someone.
I flew people out.
You flew people? I mean, flown people out? Now you got me saying. If somebody telling me you flew me out, no, I'm not flying you nowhere after you just said that. I'm not.
He said I was about to until you said that.
Right.
The afternoon show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
This report is brought to you by Jewel Osco. Shop Jewel Osco and catch the savings on seafood. Fresh Atlantic salmon fillets are $5.99 a pound. Limit 10 pounds. Plus, Waterfront Bistro 26 to 30 count easy peel raw shrimp is also $5.99 a pound. Limit 4 pounds.
WVON traffic and weather now.
No major changes in your travel times, but a couple of areas we are concentrating on right now. On the near north side, you want to look out for an accident. Is at the intersection of Division and Elston, and we are seeing a couple slow spots northbound along DuSable Lakeshore Drive. You'll slow down right at Roosevelt Road to Monroe, and then you'll hit the brakes once again right around Grand as you make your way to Chicago. Taking a look at our weather, bright, beautiful skies. The National Weather Service says we're in store for a pleasant, warm, sunny day. As temperatures climb near 86, tonight they'll level off at around 66. But we've made it to 80. It's 80 at Midway. 80 at the Obama Presidential Center, and 80 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm Annette Flournoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And we are back on a turbulent Tuesday on the Cleopatra Show. The time is 10:39, and I see you all in the chat. I want to say good morning to Jalen. Now, Jalen is tiptoeing. I got something special for our CEO, but everybody telling our CEO happy birthday. She got one of the best birthdays. She get to kick it with Barack. I ain't saying she with Barack right now, but it's his birthday too.
Right.
You know, we gonna get there. I promise you. I got a little special. You dig just for Melody. But in the chat, you all have been going like a crescendo in the conversation, and I appreciate the elevated talk. We're talking about the school board.
Can I just
absolutely
holler at Mark real quick? Who the caller that we?
Oh no, that was Michael. Give me one second. That was
Okay,
Michael.
okay.
Michael
Sorry.
O'Connor, long time listener, and definitely loves to show up in class and show out. I just wanted to set the stage for those that are jumping in the car.
Okay.
And just now tuning in. We've been talking about Chicago School Board, right? And right now, we're on the heels of the first of its kind to elect a 21-member seat. The first 21 makes the president, so the presiding president as well. And this is the first in its historic kind. And there was a vote that transpired last week, a 9-hour showdown, 2-hour recession, where folk really had to come to Jesus to figure out where the money at. Now, the money has always been where it's been. It's in Springfield. If your mayor, my mayor, Mayor Brandon Johnson, got to get down to Springfield to go ask for the bag, what make you think we special? And you have not, because you have not demanded not. And one thing about the 13 board members, they didn't come home empty-handed. But 7 of them did not want to get out in the fight and continue to defer the ball to be punted in Chicago. Now, class, as we discuss civics is beyond, I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill, and I'm sitting on Capitol Hill. Because Capitol Hill is where our federal dollars are allocated from. But if you want something to get down and get paid here in the state, you have to go to Springfield, right? So when we think about that, that $150 million was just to stop the bleeding. The bleeding. There's a deficit of $734 million. But one thing that stood out with me, School Board Member Blaise, as I attended those budget sessions, I went to Gwendolyn Brooks and I went to Dyett High School. Of the two, $9 billion is the budget for Chicago Public Schools. But $9 billion is also the deficit. Now, I'm no mathematician, but $9 billion minus $9 billion equals nothing. So we cannot continue to operate from a standpoint of nothingness, especially if we ever want to get to equity. So in your response back to Michael O'Connor, I just wanted to set the stage as to the invite to today to break down this major meeting that happened, because the person that was shaking in their boots was Macklin King. And Dr. King attended all 3 budget hearings and was saying, hey, I don't feel confident that they're going to cut the check. That was a red flag for me, especially with a governor that has presidential aspirations. Like, how can you not be sure about the check that comes from where the check was cut to?
That's right.
The state is the fiscal agent that distributes the dollars from the federal government and beyond, and they're the keeper to keep our tax dollars, right? So when Dr. Macklin King said that, I was of grave concern. But that doesn't mean we don't push the envelope. That means we got a problem also in the damn state. But that's another topic. So I just want to get your take on, as I set the platform, I want you to respond to Michael O'Connor, and then we'll take Mama D's call.
And to set the platform even further, 10 years ago, we were 49th in the country in funding. I think that cannot be highlighted enough. I mean, I was talking to a friend about this, and they were like, 49th? Like, yeah, imagine who's ahead of us, right? We have Idaho, uh, um, West Virginia. There were so many states that paid more to educate their kids than we do here. And so moving away from that and getting people to understand that education is important is a paradigm shift, because they've been ignoring our children for years. And many of the people who are running the ship, the elected officials, don't send their kids to public school. I think this is the first mayor that has children actually in CPS. So when your kids don't go there, when your neighbors don't attend CPS, it's easy for you to shortchange them. I think it's easy. It was also a place for graft, right? I think people got lots of contracts out of CPS, and there was a variety of things that CPS was used for besides educating children. And so when people keep saying the budget keeps going up every year, all budgets do. Life, the cost of everything goes up every year. But also, we started from a place so far behind that we have a lot of ground to gain in order to just get to mid-range status. So this fight for me was just as important as the fight that happened 10 years ago that led to the budget reforms, the budgeting formula. This fight has to continue. When people say, the numbers are down, why should we give you more money? Because we didn't have enough money then. There wasn't.
So what do you say? Yeah. Let me ask you this, and then we're going to go to Mama D.
Yeah.
You know, I hear a number of arguments. Why should we give money when our kids can't read?
That one makes me the angriest, I think.
It
should. Because my kids are in CPS. But also, there's standardized tests, and if that's how you evaluate how well your children are doing in schools, so be it. But if you look on in the national numbers, we're right mid-range in terms of educating our students on grade level. But if you see some of the things that are happening in CPS, you would be amazed. There's pilot training classes. There's not enough. There's amazing explorations into not just band and arts and all those kind of things, but different fields of study. CPS in some schools and are being super innovative, and they're trying things. We sit around and allow people to talk about our children and their education like dogs, and I'm telling you, I try so hard to maintain my stateswomanliness when I hear that, but I want to go all clean off, because I don't think you should talk about my kids like that. All Chicago kids. And just using that as a measure for how great our children are is ridiculous.
Let's talk to Mama D. Mama D, talk to me. Welcome to WVON.
Y'all guys rising. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning.
I was in a conversation with a parent that lived across the street from a school, and I was saying to her, oh, that must be really nice, living right across the street. And she said, the smart children go to that school. And I thought that was so sad. But, however, the United Nations designated a decade, 2015 to 2024, to deal with police killings of black men and boys, massive school closings, and disproportionate arrests. And this UN working group traveled throughout the United States, and they had hearings and took testimonies at Chicago State University. And the Huffington Post education editor reported that the UN experts seemed horrified by how American schools treat black children. And they said American schools were a hotbed for racial discrimination. Now, my question is, do you know if CPS reported to their findings? And if not, do you think it's too late for them to respond to it?
Thank you for the call.
So I don't know if they were a part of that report. And if you can get it to me, I am happy to look into that for you. But this is part of the reason that we've established the Black Student Success Committee, because the questions are, why aren't, what, and the question used to be, what's wrong with these Black kids that they're not doing as well? We've finally gotten to a place where what is happening in our school system that is not making our kids successful. And that's why the Black Student Success Committee is so important, is because we're going to ask those questions and get those answers and make sure that we are instituting changes that will change the course of direction and the success of Black students in CPS.
More when we return. I see Susan, I see Mark Carter, and I see you all in the chat. Y'all got me holding School Board Member Blaise for one more segment, but I see the conversation is rising. When we return, I want to talk about the Black Student Success Plan.
Okay.
You don't want to miss this.
More from Cleopatra coming up next on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
When you play the Illinois Lottery, you're generating funds that support education. No matter the prize, Illinois wins. Play all your favorite Illinois Lottery games today to help raise more for education. Be smart, play smart. Must be 18 years or older to play. Game odds available at IllinoisLottery.com.
This is Kamini Khan, certified financial planner professional. For the past year, I've been on a mission to change lives and build wealth in our community. Together, we're changing the paradigm. This year, I'm back with a new series, Wealth Strategies, Money Talks. Join me every Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. on the Rufus Williams Show as we have thoughtful discussions around building wealth in our community. We'll discuss topics like investing, savings, tax strategies, retirement, and all things money. Yes, that's Tuesday at 8:30 a.m., so set those alarms. Also, be sure to check out the podcast at WVONWealthShow.com.
Komini Khan is a certified financial planner professional with Optimal Planning Partners in alliance with Equitable Advisors, LLC member SIPC in Oak Brook, Illinois. For more information, please call 630-575-5046.
Identity theft can cost more than you think. Drained investment accounts, stolen tax returns, lost wages, expenses for lawyers. It's a lot. That's why LifeLock is backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, which covers up to $1 million for stolen funds, fees, and experts and lawyers, and out-of-pocket expenses. Don't face the burden of identity theft alone. Protect your future and finances with LifeLock. Join now. Save up to 30% off your first year with promo code BECK at LifeLock.com. 1-800-LifeLock, promo code BECK. LifeLock.com. Terms to apply.
Get your outfits, grab your crew, and get on board with the Me Plus 3 special starting at $1,000 per person. This time, join the Foundation Fantastic Voyage 2025 cruise will be fun, entertaining, and this will be a once-in-a-lifetime event with seminars, fitness workouts, parades, concerts, and much more starting at $1,000. Call 214-495-1963 to book your Me Plus 3 cabin. Prices are based on 4 passengers in the cabin, so book today while they last and before cabins are sold out.
It's Matt McGill.
President Trump participating in the dignified transfer of the bodies of people who were lost in battle. What the hell are we doing putting people in harm's way? Why we got an 18-year-old in harm's way? This girl just graduated from high school. Some of y'all got the nerve to defend Donald Trump? Really? It's a damn shame, man.
Weekdays at noon on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
WVON, traffic and weather now.
No changes in your travel times, but we are seeing some delays right now on the inbound side of the Ryan in the express lanes right there at 33rd Street. There's some maintenance crews. They're blocking 2 of the left lanes there. Apparently, they're removing some sort of graffiti from the overhead signs there. Traffic right now backed up to 51st Street. Taking a look at our weather, bright, beautiful skies. The National Weather Service says we're headed to a daytime high somewhere in the mid-80s. Tonight, 66. We're up to 81 at Midway. It's 81 at the Obama Presidential Center and 81 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm Anna Flournoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And we are back. It's a Turbulent Tuesday on the Cleopatra Show. The time is 10:54. And school board member Michilla Blaise is hanging out with me. And I told her I was going to read this. Renee Creswell is responding back to another class member in the chat. And she says, they tore down and closed many of the schools in our neighborhoods. But look at all the schools Daly and Emmanuel built in Little Village, Pilsen, and back of the yards, and Northside College Prep on the far north side, as well as the huge addition to Jones. And I told you I was going to tell a story. Maybe this is 2010, 11, somewhere along that line. Maybe 11. Could have been 12. I'm a post-secondary coach, and I know this sister here. I'm a post-secondary coach, college liaison, whatever you want to call me. I move the children out into the world. And we would organize our students to prepare for the Bill and Melinda Gates Scholarship. And there would be a lot of writing sessions and how to appease these people and get them prepared. And simultaneously, juxtaposed to that was the Posse Scholarship. So any event, one fell short for this, they can get ready for that. And through the years of me doing this preparation, I used to try to find motivation for my students. Now, a lot of the schools I worked in, hell, we didn't even have doors on the bathroom. Stall.
Right.
Okay? Stall. And I thought that was very animalistic, you know. And coming from Kenwood and just the experiences that I had had prior to, because I used to work for the area office. You all call it network now. I'm going back into time. I've been in some beautiful schools. So I decided to take my students from South Shore School of Leadership. If you all know something about it, it was historically closed while they were building the brand new selective enrollment across the street that my students couldn't attend because they wanted a new crop. That's what they told the children.
A new what?
Crop.
Wow.
Okay. So I decided to take my children to Little Village High School. Immaculate, beautiful building. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And before I could do that, the district called me. And I'll never forget this call. And they said, Cleopatra, are we looking at your paperwork for your field trip? I used to call them exploration trips. Why are you taking those children to Little Village and they can go right down the street to Inglewood, I think? I said, because I need for them to fight for something. Mr. Williams said, what? I said, I need for them to fight for something. I said, if they know not of, they won't fight. If they see a beautiful school, maybe they'll realize they've been robbed. If they see children that get to go into a bathroom and have privacy, maybe they'll realize what dignity look like. He heard them, got the hell off the phone with me now. At this time, I'm about 28. Yeah, about 28. But I've always been like this. And I was very angry. And sure enough, as soon as we pull up in the bus, they said, Miss Watson, this is before I was married, we going into this school? I said, yeah. They looked around and it's so clean in here. One of my students asked when they go to the bathroom. I said, Miss Watson, they even got doors. I could have cried.
Auditorium.
I could have cried.
When he was so excited about doors.
A door, right? So the cruelty, I can go back into time, but we just at 2026.
Yeah.
So this is not new. And think about the generations, I'm one of them, you're one of them, that have been raised through Chicago public schools. All right? Now, I did get me a Posse Scholar and a Bill Gates Scholar that year. But he struggled. He struggled, God bless him. But the point that I'm making is I needed them to see what they had been robbed of. So you're absolutely right, Renee. And the stories that I can tell, and folks are always impressed because as your favorite millennial, as a young person, my resume, it ain't young. It's longer than most people's birth certificate. You really want to know the truth because of what I've been through coming out in college where the economy had collapsed. There was no pathway. The hustle be real if you're from the go, though, right? And Chicago Public Schools did give me some tools. But the fight, which is why you're on the board, right? This fight is beyond us. So I want to take Susan's call, but I just wanted to share that story with you all. Susan, talk to us. Welcome to WVON.
That was fascinating. That just lets you know how poorly they think of our children. It's like, why they got to go up north? You can go across the street. It's like across the street is what I'm used to. I'm trying to give them something different. You can't see that. You know, you actually had to professionally tell him off for him to get the memo. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
It's like, but no doors on the bathroom.
Oh, yeah.
I'll give it up for the boys because you know how they go. The girls.
Yeah, I'm talking about the girl stalls.
This is a normalcy out there in the CPS world.
Hey, that's why.
I mean, I've been in situations where I've seen no doors, but
they had to have a task force about the bathrooms. So as things fall off of the budget, we don't want to put cuts to classrooms. What happens is a lot of our infrastructure money gets cut. So our buildings are somewhere between 80 and 90 years old. Don't forget. These buildings need repair, and the bathrooms in particular, because they get used so often and abused so often, they need to be on a consistent repair schedule. And our CPS bathrooms are legendary.
They're gross.
I mean, isn't it like like 4 screws and 2 hinges and
sort of?
We got a door.
4 screws short of decency and met with integrity.
But I mean, it goes back to what you were saying, though. There was some investment on the west side, right? They remodeled Westinghouse and
selective enrollment.
And
it's not what I remember. Westinghouse looks so Asian and white. It don't make it. It ain't even white no more. It's wrong in terms of what I remember.
Yeah,
I'm going back 20
years. Away from it.
And Malcolm X, they invested in that, but the enrollment goes up. So what if we invest in our schools? That's all I'm saying is we can't leave our schools just to fester and hope that it works out, or I'm going to add a phlebotomy class, and that's going to drive people into schools. A lot of these kids are looking for IB classes. They're looking for that dual enrollment, so they're getting
which
college
they should,
credit.
so that they can compete.
That's right.
Our children are wise.
And so we have to make sure that we're focused on what drives folks in. And I think you also mentioned outreach and PR for CPS
marketing,
schools.
yeah.
Marketing. When I first got on the board, everybody who reached out to me was in a charter school because they have a marketing department, and they wanted to make sure that they were on my radar. CPS folks did not do that. Because that's not part of their budget. We don't have enough focus on recruitment. We don't have enough focus on finding out what the community wants in terms of other classes or other things that they are looking for.
So I'll leave you with this, and Susan, I want to take whatever else you had to say. You know, at the moral compass of your budget is your heartbeat, right? Is the things that you care about. That compass is the guiding force. So the fact that you lack a marketing department lets me know you're not trying to be made aware of. Susan?
Yes.
What was your comment for School Board Blaise?
Okay.
Member Blaise?
So I got disturbed when she made the comment about depending on the stats to determine the status of our students when these kids are not employed like they should be because they're not actually able to perform once they get these jobs. And I know you're talking about anecdotal stuff, things that are here and there. But, I mean, when we got the vast majority of the kids not able to read and not able to do math, those are like just basic functions of life. Just, not even thinking about a job, doing a recipe or, just trying to measure something out in the real world. And it's like, how can we not acknowledge these stats because they're real? I get that the kids are more than just the stats, but the stats are the truth.
Well, good comment.
And it's like it's disturbing.
Good comment. Thank you. I will have you back. You want to respond real quick?
Just real quick. It's not that they can't read. They can't read on grade level and to the expectations of the test. They can read. They can function in society. There's lots of people who anyway, but I'll just leave it there. I think saying our kids can't read is really is challenging for me.
Well, one thing about it, I'll make sure to have Michilla back. She is serving in District 5B, and she is blazing the board. And I wanted to have you back, not only to keep us abreast, but to defend that statement, our kids can't read. I want to leave it there, but we'll pick that ball back up.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been an absolute joy. Thank you to all the folks that are giving feedback. This is what the elected representative school is here to provide. So bring it on. Bring all the questions. Send me emails. I love feedback, and you've been a joy to talk to today, as always.
All
Good to
right,
see
thank you.
again.
All right, guys, when we come back, I have Professor Gowder on the other side of the break.
Turning sunny and clear, temperatures climbing into the mid-80s on this Tuesday, August 4th, 2026. I'm in Illinois, and in the headlines, Chicago is adding more divvy bike stations along the lakefront. The Chicago Air and Water Show is coming this month. And this weekend, all eyes on Bronzeville. The 97th annual Bud Billiken Parade kicks off on Saturday. Tens of thousands are expected to line King Drive for this historic annual back-to-school send-off. National news from the Black Information Network is next on the Voice of a Nation and the Talk of Chicago. 1690 AM WVON, Berwyn, Chicago. It's 11:05.
Ada S. McKinley has a fantastic early learning and childcare program for kids from birth to age 5. Give your child a strong start. Quality childcare at 13 locations. Free and affordable options. Full days that are convenient for parents. Home-based services for expectant moms and their kids. And they welcome children with disabilities. Limited space available. Enroll now. Call 773-780-0050 or visit adasmckinley.org.
Hey family, it's me again, Joan Colasso, Executive and Artistic Director of the amazing Timeless Gifts Performing Arts Program for youth and young adults. It's been a great summer, and now it's time for you to see the incredible talent we've been cultivating in 2026. As we present a Timeless Gifts Review, Sunday, August 9th at the Logan Center. Come and enjoy this amazing musical journey as we share some of our best experiences and productions over our 16 years, like Timeless, a musical review, Hit Me, Once a Hit, Always a Hit, and from our international tour in Milan, Italy, and much more.
You'll be dancing in your seat.
That's Sunday, August 9th at the Logan Center, 915 East 60th Street. For tickets and information, go to ticketfalcon.com/TG Summer 2026 and find us on social media at TimelessGifts_Chicago or call us at 312-808-0005.
You never know who's going to stop by WVON.
The ATL in the house, Finesse Mitchell.
Oh, yes, Chicago.
Yeah, he is.
You saw me when I was in the White House dressing so fresh and so clean. They tried to put me out for wearing tan.
You guys know him as Lil Rel.
VON is legendary to me. Honestly, before podcasts existed, it was talk radio.
He is one of the original kings of comedy, Cedric the Entertainer.
I appreciate it, no doubt.
Tommy Davidson.
Hey, Rufus, how you feeling, man?
I am great.
We are the talk of Chicago. 1690 WVON. Hey, Alexa, play WVON 1690 AM.
Getting WVON 1690 AM station from iHeartRadio.
Try it out for yourself. America is listening to WVON.
This report is brought to you by ComEd, powering lives. Here's a great savings idea. Did you know you've got the power to manage your energy? Yep, from usage alerts to energy-saving programs and more. ComEd has all kinds of ideas to help you gain control over your energy-saving costs. Find out more at ComEd.com/energy savings.
WVON, traffic and weather now.
If you're headed inbound along the Ryan and wondering what's happening in the express lanes there, right now we're seeing some crews. They're removing graffiti from an overhead sign there at 33rd Street. Those crews have traffic backed up right now to 51st Street. They have the two right lanes closed. Traffic is having to go around. Taking a look at our weather, bright, beautiful skies. The National Weather Service says we're headed to a daytime high of around 85. Tonight going down to 66. But right now, temperatures are in the low 80s. We're looking at 81 at Midway. It's 81 at the Obama Presidential Center and 81 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm Annette Flanoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Live from the Xfinity Studios at WVON, it's the Cleopatra Show on Chicago's essential storyteller, 1690 WVON.
And we are back. The time is 11:09, and it's a turbulent Tuesday on the Cleopatra Show. I want to thank School Board Member Blaise for blazing with us. What a fruitful conversation, and we will continue to raise awareness about education. I put a pin in that. You know, when we say our children can't read, and I told her we'll unpack that at another day because I want to revisit that. You know, there was some meat there, so we're going to chew on that bone another day. Meanwhile, back on the ranch, as we look nationally, Professor Gowder is going to hang out with us because we're going to talk about, maybe he's now sworn in, but Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche. Right now, you saw two of the Republicans bend the knee to the ones that were already on their knees to swear him in, based off a farce, you know, when it comes to the sweetheart deal that has been granted to your president, Donald John Trump, and his sons and their businesses so that they can have immunity from taxation, even though they have the representation of us all. And that sweetheart deal was allegedly null and void, but there are holes in it. And in that loophole, Trump has not stopped talking about it. In addition to the anti-weaponization fund of $1.776 billion, this slush fund to the insurrectionist thugs that desecrated the halls of Congress in the name of patriotism. On the live line, I want to welcome back a friend of the show, attorney Paul Gowder. How are you?
I'm all right. It's always such a wonderful experience to be here with you today.
Likewise. I hope I laid it out and made it plain.
Absolutely. I mean, it's really just mind-blowing to me. I think, you know, it almost feels like a negotiation tactic at this point. Like Donald Trump does something just like so incredibly outrageous, like this fund to pay off the insurrectionists. And, you know, that gives the Senate an excuse to say, oh, no, we're going to fight you on this. Makes a tiny, tiny concession. And, you know, the senators get to pretend like they've fought him on something, even as they give him essentially what he wants all along.
But I'm at this point, Attorney Gowder. In fact, I watched the opening session of, especially when Senator Durbin spoke. But there was a moment where one of the Republicans said, it's not as though everybody in here is squeaky clean. So what that insinuates to me is that they're all in collusion. Somebody has done something where they feel obligated to bend to both knees. And it's so blatantly obvious. Now, what they've done will definitely come out in the rents. But to swear him in where he's about to come before the Bar Association in Florida for his own involvement in impunity is ridiculous.
I mean, I agree with you. It's just like, you know, I sort of compare Blanche to Emile Beauvais, who, as you know, you might remember, got nominated and, successfully appointed by Donald Trump to the Third Circuit Court of Appeals not that long ago. Both of them have sort of played this role effectively as the heavies for Donald Trump's crazy policies. And, yes, Blanche was also Trump's personal attorney, which, is bad, but to my mind isn't as bad as the role that he played when he was working under Pam Bondi. And, just like Emile Beauvais, like really being the people who were giving a lot of these orders to do all these outrageous illegal things in immigration. Blanche was implicated in punishing people for admitting that Kilmar Abrego Garcia was wrongfully deported. All of these things where, we're just seeing Trump elevate people in the Department of Justice who are willing to overlook the duties that every lawyer, but especially Department of Justice lawyers, have to the Constitution and the legal system, and, to just prefer, like, blind loyalty to faithfulness to the law.
So what do we do? The question of the day was this, and I'm going to ask you, can you name 2 unqualified cabinet members or positions? There's so many.
It's hard to name any qualified ones. Pete Hegseth is kind of the most obvious example because it's just sort of astonishing how, like, very little qualifications he had in the first place. And I think, part of the reason that the situation in Iran has been so shambolic is because the Pentagon has just totally lacked credible civilian leadership for a very long time. The other obvious person, of course, is Kennedy.
You mean being the brother of the president wasn't qualifying enough?
You'd think, right? Kennedy's just utterly mind-blowing. Those two stand out for me because, like some of the others, right? I think that almost everybody that Trump's appointed has been unqualified in one sense or another. But both of, those two had really this sort of like long records of really not only being unqualified, but sort of anti-qualified. Kennedy spent so many of his years like attacking science and public health and attacking just like sort of the basic premises of keeping people healthy. And look what we have now, right? We have the diarrhea lettuce. We have like measles cases hitting records compared to, how it was before the vaccine was invented. We have chaos.
And he's in utter denial, particularly when it comes to the measles. I remember covering exclusively the first case in Seminole, Texas, of a 6-year-old that died a gruesome death, a painful death. And the fact that he is utterly denying it while in the same breath, in the same tongue, coming after Dr. Fauci, is problematic.
I really feel for Dr. Fauci. It's just like, can you imagine working day and night and, making mistakes, sure, because they were dealing with an unprecedented situation and like they were dealing with rapidly evolving information, but working day and night and doing your best to save millions of people from a plague and, managing upward when you're doing this under a president who barely can keep it together even in the first term. And then instead of being, either praised or at least allowed to take a quiet retirement, vilified for it later, threatened with prosecution later. I don't know how anybody could ever actually try to faithfully make policy in this country anymore when they see what happens when somebody does their best and is attacked like this.
So where do you stand with this confirmation? Are you in support of acting attorney Todd Blanche? I have to formally ask you, acting attorney Todd Blanche rising to become America's attorney, even though he admittedly said he's still the personal attorney of Donald John Trump?
Yeah, God, no. I mean, the man is a danger to the Republic. And again, like, this is not about politics. So, in the first term, Jeff Sessions and Bill Barr, were his two attorney generals. And I mean, I, was not a fan of either of them. I mean, both of them are much, much, much further to the political right than me. But both of them, did their jobs. Even when I disagreed with them, both of them understood that the law was a barrier to just doing whatever Donald Trump wants. I particularly remember when the 2020 election happened, Trump asked Bill Barr, by then was his attorney general, I need you to find me some voter fraud. And Barr, told him, frankly and forthrightly, there wasn't, this election wasn't stolen. And I don't know, I certainly find it really hard to believe that Todd Blanche would do the same.
Well, I definitely am with you. When we come back, Jean Pirro has been a very interesting creature when it comes to her attack on people and issues. What took me for a whirlwind was the reflecting pool and the deflecting of the reflecting pool, and the fact that all charges have been dropped and Trump is having a temper tantrum potentially means that she may be out. Even though she went to the White House last night, head held low as she walked out, what does this mean? When you defy Trump and you cannot deliver. We are talking to attorney Paul Gowder. When we return, I would like to get your take on Jeanine Pirro and what she means, because she has been vehemently carrying out this anti-black agenda for Trump, but she's been coming up short, and he's not happy. We'll be back.
More from Cleopatra coming up next on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Early detection saves lives. Ladies, if you're due for a mammogram, don't wait. Breast cancer is most treatable when it's found early. UChicago Medicine makes it easier to take charge of your health. Eligible patients can self-schedule their mammogram online or through MyChart in just minutes. Visit uchicagomedicine.org/mammo to schedule your screening. That's uchicagomedicine.org/mammo. UChicago Medicine at the forefront.
Chicago, one night only, the Destiny's Child Iconic Reimagined Tribute, live at the Congress Theater, Saturday, August 29th. Experience the songs that defined a generation, reimagined. A 5-piece string ensemble delivers a fresh, symphonic take on the hits you love, blending contemporary sound with those signature harmonies and empowering lyrics. Narrated by Matthew Knowles, the management powerhouse behind Destiny's Child. Upgrade to VIP for an exclusive meet and greet. Tickets are moving fast. Get yours now at destinyschild.com. Say my name, Chicago.
Get your outfits, grab your crew, and get on board with the Me+3 special starting at $1,000 per person. This time, join the Foundation Fantastic Voyage 2025 cruise will be fun, entertaining, and this will be a once-in-a-lifetime event with seminars, fitness workouts, parades, concerts, and much more starting at $1,000. Call 214-495-1963 to book your Me+3 cabin. Prices are based on 4 passengers in the cabin, so book today while they last and before cabins are sold out.
Identity theft can cost more than you think. Drained investment accounts, stolen tax returns, lost wages, expenses for lawyers. It's a lot. That's why LifeLock is backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, which covers up to $1 million for stolen funds, fees, and experts and lawyers, and out-of-pocket expenses. Don't face the burden of identity theft alone. Protect your future and finances with LifeLock. Join now. Save up to 30% off your first year with promo code BECK at LifeLock.com. 1-800-LifeLock, promo code BECK. LifeLock.com. Terms to apply.
WVON traffic and weather now.
Highly unusual for this time of day, and folks want to know what's happening on the inbound side of the Ryan. It is not an accident, folks. It is some maintenance going on right now. Crews are removing graffiti from an overhead sign near 35th Street. Is all happening in the express lanes. They have 2 of the left lanes blocked there. Traffic backed up to 51st Street. Taking a look at our weather, we're seeing lots of sunshine, as promised. The National Weather Service says temperatures are expected to climb into the 80s. 85 is the official high, 66 the official low. Temperatures right now are in the low 80s. We're looking at 81 still at O'Hare, is 81 still at the Obama Presidential Center, and 81 still here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm Annette Flournoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
I could jam into that all day. The time is 11:24. It's a turbulent Tuesday on the Cleopatra Show, and I'm talking to attorney Paul Gowder. He's a friend of the show, and I'm getting his take on Jeanine Pirro. Now, normally I don't point to what people look like, but when I first saw her, I thought of the Grinch, and I thought of the little community, right? Because she definitely looks like one of those people. And she's not the nice one, right? She is like, if she could marry the Grinch and continue to give out a lump of coal, she would. And now I think she has finally got her coming up, as folks would say, with this anti-black agenda that she's proudly carried out for Donald Trump, and just the attack on overall. Now, the most ridiculous one was the reflecting pool. And she literally, I think they know that they can't bring charges, but to appease Trump, they do it anyway, but until it goes too far and they're on the precipice of losing their bar license or putting it in jeopardy, they bow out with their tail in between their legs. And we've seen this time and time again of attorneys that represent Trump and his interests, whether it is a real opportunity or shenanigans yet, and still she carried it out and she couldn't deliver. What's your take on Jeanine Pirro?
Well, I think the really astonishing thing about this reflecting pool situation and her turnabout on that was you've got to read the motion that she filed to dismiss the charges. I mean, that motion really lays out how the reflecting pool got screwed up. It essentially throws the Department of Interior all the way under the bus, says, we had to fight to get information from the Department of Interior in the first place. Like when they finally gave us the information, that's when we realized that these charges weren't supportable. And I mean, that may be true, but even for somebody who is, stepping back and saying, wait a minute, I'm in danger here. It's been a long time since I've practiced actively. I don't keep an active bar club anymore. But I mean, I think the ethics issues of bringing a prosecution where you have good reason to know that it's fraudulent have to have been really salient to her. But even so, she could have stepped it back a little bit more quietly. And I think a lot of people are puzzled about why she essentially, used her whole chest to explain in painful detail on the public record how the prosecution was fraudulent.
So do you think she's going to be terminated? Has she been fired already?
Oh, I'm absolutely. I don't know if she's been fired already, but again, just in partly because she really made, whether it's real internal conflict or she's sort of chosen to display the sort of appearance of internal conflict. I think she's made a big display of disloyalty to Donald Trump. And as we know, disloyalty is the one thing that he can't tolerate. So I think she's going to be out sooner or later, probably sooner.
But let me ask you this, because there is a pitter pattern that I have to unpack of his disdain when it comes to women, particularly women that he puts in leadership. So Pam Bondi, Kristi Noem, now Jeanine Pirro. I mean, the list is elongated, juxtaposed to men that get to fail up. Pete Hegseth being one. I mean, have you taken your testosterone shot today? I mean, come on now. It's foolishness. So how is it that, although she couldn't deliver, she bites like a dog, she barks like one, but she could not deliver like one, so she has to go. What do you say about this pitter patter?
I mean, I think that that's completely right, that it does seem like, I mean, again, like basically everyone that he's appointed in this term has been dangerous and incompetent, but the dangerous and incompetent men sure seem to last an awful lot longer than the dangerous and incompetent women. And yeah, I think you're right to point out that that pattern, like, frankly, relates to the misogyny that we know he's exhibited in so many situations.
Mm. Last but not least, I've been prefacing it this way. There's a definite, defiant anti-black agenda pouring out of this regime that is undeniable. Now, when we hear the term anti-Semitic, we've been conditioned to accept it as such. And I am working on changing the language to view this as such, particularly when it comes to just the erasure of Black history, even at the Smithsonian, putting up cardboard images saying what isn't true, what is true. What is your take on where we're at, particularly, what is it, August 4th of 2026 in this administration, as the Michiganders are about to potentially make or break history?
No, I think that, we do need to talk more about the anti-blackness because it's still going on. The most recent example, you talk about erasing history. There's currently a legal fight in Philadelphia right now because there was a history exhibit talking about the people who were held as slaves by George Washington, and the Trump administration ordered that removed. And so, there's litigation going on, but there seems to be this sense that, we can't reckon with our history. And, the other place where this is really salient, of course, I mean, we think about immigration and anti-blackness is separate, but I'm sure we all notice that the things that Donald Trump said about immigrants, like he reserved the worst, most disgusting, craziest lies for Haitian and Somali immigrants. And, I think we all know why that's the case, especially Haitian immigrants, because, of course, Haiti has been like the place that white supremacists feared the most for hundreds of years, because Haiti has been the place, like the one place where enslaved people rose up and took over the whole country. And I think that, I think comparing it to anti-Semitism is important, because another thing that we see coming out of this administration is we see, Donald Trump doing anti-Semitic things and then claiming that they're, in the name of fighting anti-Semitism. I mean, I remember, a few months ago, he posted this like astonishing thing on Truth Social where he said, like Chuck Schumer's basically a Palestinian now to me because, Schumer wasn't supporting some pro-Israel thing that Trump wanted done. And it's like, wow, okay, who's anti-Semitic? Is it the guy who's calling the Jewish opposition leader basically a Palestinian?
Well, hold that thought. We are talking to attorney Paul Gowder, who's a professor, by the way, at Northwestern University and is a renowned scholar on the 14th Amendment. His research focuses on the rule of law, democratic theory, social and racial equality, institutional and organizational governance, law, technology, and the classical Antithean law and political thought. More when we return.
As promised, lots of sunshine, bright, beautiful skies, temperatures climbing into the mid-80s. Good morning, I'm Anna Flournoy, and here's what's happening. Communities across the country, as well as here in Chicago, will be spending the night outside. The National Night Out is happening. It kicks off this evening. Now, this annual event is designed to promote police and community partnerships and give residents a casual and fun opportunity to mingle with local law enforcement in a positive way. There are events planned across the city and suburbs. Some communities are going to do it up big. Mayor Brandon Johnson will spend time at the 9th District and 5th District Park Districts, where folks can meet their neighborhood police and firefighters, as well as enjoy family activities and learn more about public safety. Well, Mayor Brandon Johnson says he's not sweating Illinois Secretary of State Alexi Giannoulias' decision to run for mayor. Perry Williams has more.
The mayor became passionate concerning his own resume, mainly his handling of the migrant crisis.
My administration stood up for this city when there were no solutions across this globe of how to respond to a global population shift and migrants being shipped to create political turmoil.
Without stating names, Mayor Johnson added that there are people seeking office that are claiming that they will close schools. Giannoulias mentioned in a recent interview that it was time to look into the possibility of school closures. I'm Perry Williams.
There's some new state legislation that will help with the rising costs of insurance in Illinois. Today, Governor Pritzker is signing insurance bills designed to protect home and car owners from excessive and unexplained rate hikes. The new laws will give state regulators the ability to challenge auto and home insurance hikes before they are approved. The bills also will require insurance companies to issue at least a 30-day notice before their renewal dates. Well, that's a look at our news now on 1690 WVON. Traffic and weather up next. WVO News Time, 11:34.
Tuned in to your favorite WVON personalities on Facebook Live? Don't just watch, like it, love it, share it. Every click helps us grow the conversation and keep the community strong. So remember, like it, love it, share it, Chicago.
It's Rufus Williams.
The radio keeps our ear to the pavement so we know what's going on in the community. And I got to say, what and how you've been doing it as my frat brother, but more importantly, what VON does, you are the new Ebony Jet that keeps our community connected.
Well, thanks. That's a huge compliment. Weekdays at 7 a.m. on The Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
This report is brought to you by Jewel Osco. Shop Jewel Osco and catch the savings on seafood. Fresh Atlantic salmon fillets are $5.99 a pound. Limit 10 pounds. Plus, Waterfront Bistro 26 to 30 count easy peel raw shrimp is also $5.99 a pound. Limit 4 pounds.
WVON traffic and weather now.
No changes in your travel times, but we are tracking what's going on the inbound side of the Kennedy right now at Lawrence. There's some repairs happening to a damaged retaining wall. It's damaged due to last week's storms. It's happening right there inbound on the off-ramps to Lawrence Avenue. Taking a look at our weather, bright, beautiful skies. The National Weather Service says we're headed toward a daytime high of 85. Temperatures leveling off tonight at around 67 now. But temperatures are steady in the low 80s. It's 81 still at Midway. It's 81 at the Obama Presidential Center and 81 degrees here at the Talk of Illinois on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And we are back. The time is 11:37. You're listening to a Turbulent Tuesday on the Cleopatra Show. And my friend, attorney Paul Gowder is still hanging out with us. And Paul, I wanted to hit you with these numbers. These are some big facts. You ready?
I'll go for it.
So today is day 91 before the midterms, day 158 of Trump's war, and day 51 that Mitch, the Grim Reaper, McConnell has been missing. Which one would you like to start with first? I just want your response to each day.
Oh my gosh. I mean, Iran is really the thing that's obviously on all of our minds.
Which is it? The war?
Yeah.
You know, I think the war is financially war is just horrible, period. I don't know if that's my top one, but let me know how you feel about the war.
I mean, it was so unnecessary in the first place, right? I mean, that's the thing.
It was necessary. Let me tell you why. Have you talked about the Epstein files?
Fair enough. was necessary for Trump. It wasn't necessary for the rest of us. And I mean, do you remember back in 2016, when everybody was talking, Hillary the Hawk and Donald the Dove, right? When like the whole thing that was supposed to be the one redeeming feature that everyone had to say about Donald Trump was that he was enough of an isolationist. They wouldn't get the United States involved in like pointless foreign wars. Whoops.
Yeah, we're here, and the American sons and daughters are off to his war. Now, some of the black ones are saved because they don't want us in the army or the armed forces, or promote it. Let me say it like that. Ways in which you're not going to promote people of color and or women. So that fact.
Oh, no. I mean, they fired an astonishing number of black generals and admirals or moved them away from power. I mean, again, like it's not even subtle at this point.
No, and actually I appreciate that because, I don't know if you remember in class, this is the moment where I adopt the faith to be real Jew-ish. I may not be a practicing Jew, but I respect the fact that they need not forget and we need not either. Remember these moments. Now, getting to the most astonishing part for me, I feel the way that you feel about war, but I know why war was created. You needed a catastrophe to run away from the catastrophe that doesn't not only implicate Donald Trump, but the most powerful men in the world. So you create war. That has been the most distracting thing that has kept us occupied than to talk about Epstein's rape island and the survivors that can barely get the iota of the attention of the rising attorney general. So remember that. What is astonishing for me is the Grim Reaper, who is self-proclaimed Grim Reaper, and the fact that he may or may not be amongst the living, and he only relinquished a photo, and those that are implicating themselves with saying they've talked to him. Now, any event that he's either brain dead or immobile or unable to speak, the fallout that will become of it. That is what is most astonishing for me, because in the calculus, it coincides with the 91 days. They're about to take a 30-day holiday, which will leave them with 25 days left before they have to install a newly cemented senator. And this is the greatest debacle of it all. So I feel like, if I was to think about the biggest scandal of our time in this season beyond a Trump, is the Grim Reaper.
Well, I mean, it's also so consistent with what they've been doing. I mean, it's consistent with what McConnell himself did at the end of President Obama's time in office, when he delayed the replacement of a Supreme Court justice in order to give another appointment to Trump. I mean, I think that, it's this kind of what constitutional lawyers call constitutional hardball, where they, interpret every rule and every bit of wiggle room in the rule in their favor, and every rule and every bit of the wiggle room in the rule on the other side against the other side, and just, don't exercise any restraint in like how much sort of bare knuckle, hard fisted politics they're willing to play.
Well, I appreciate that. But one thing about it, I know you have to go. Before I let you go, what happens in Michigan tonight? Give me your prediction.
Your guess is as good as mine. Like I'm kind of afraid to predict, because every time I predict anything that happens in politics, especially if I predict something good, which is what I want to predict, like I feel like I jinx it.
Well, if I may say, I believe El Sayed is going to give her a run for her money, and it may not all be based on his messaging. It may be based on her underperformance. She is not the strongest candidate, despite having establishment support. And folks are waking up and they're seeing the big money in politics. And if El Sayed pulls this off, it will begin to enhance the communication that is needed for the Democratic Party to shape their message and shape the messaging, the messenger. So I just feel confident that El Sayed is in a great position. And I believe he would bring a ray of sunshine to Michiganders that need to be chin-checked, particularly those that showed up for this moment, those that voted for Trump. They sent Trump overwhelmingly, and they are suffering because of it. So hopefully El Sayed can put them back on the right track.
I mean, from your lips to God's ears, my friend, or maybe to the people of Michigan's ears.
Well, we shall see. But I appreciate it, friend. I love when you stop by, and we'll have you back soon.
Thank you. I'm always happy to come back.
Listen, guys, I definitely want to take some more calls. 773-591-1690. I see that Mark Carter's been on the line waiting. Mark, I'll take your call real quick. Talk to us. Welcome to WVON.
Well, I know we were discussing education, Cleopatra. We're not part of any of these groups, whether it's SEIU, the Teachers Union, the sororities and fraternities. All these people have been in control of education since Brown versus Board of Education. And we're still producing less than 40% passing of our children. And so let them keep fighting their fight. We have to get in front of our education, get in front of our community now that our generation have come of age. We can't play the same old game, siding with either one of them. Even when we talk about the downtown corporations not paying their fair share, well, the unions is inflating the cost of labor, and so we pay for both. We pay for the extra taxes. We pay for the inflated cost of labor. Chicago Public Schools got a $10 billion budget. You can't educate less than 500,000 children with $10 billion. You see what I'm saying?
I hear you, but I wanted you to finish your statement because some of it wasn't factual. So SEIU,
what's not factual
I'm
about it?
about to speak to it. SEIU represent the largest population in SEIU are Black members. You do know that, right? So when you say, I guess my problem is when you say we, I think I would be better if you just said me. Me don't represent none of this.
No.
Because you love to speak for a lot of people, but wait. But listen to what I just said. But listen to what I just said.
It ain't just me.
But you calling, and you just said a statement that wasn't factually true. The largest population of SEIU are Black employees.
Okay, but the majority of these unions are not our people, especially when you come to Chicago Public Schools. Most of those monies are going to contracts.
So Chicago Public Schools doesn't have the union. That's the Chicago Teachers Union. If it was up to Chicago Public Schools, it would be no union.
I'm not talking about just the Teachers Union or SEIU. I said the majority, I ain't going to say the majority, but a large portion of this money goes to contracts, whether it's rehabbing these schools or any of that stuff. We're not involved. We're not included. And so now that we're in our 50s, and I keep saying this for a reason, we are going to do something different than what our parents did, which is we're not going to let all these different type of white folks get all the money and we don't get none just to appease a few Black folks under DEI and all that kind of. We're not doing that. We're not doing any of that. We have to speak up for all Black people. And just like we did when Rahm Emanuel tried to cover up Laquan McDonald's murder, watch out. Y'all, you think you dealt with the takeovers with the kids. Now they got to deal with us.
Good call. I appreciate it.
Stay tuned. What's about to happen?
I appreciate it. I see Michael O'Connor put in the chat, the Secretary of Education, Linda McHone, is unqualified. So, folks forget that WWE, best of the best, runs the public school system. I just wanted to bring that up. When we talk about SEIU go hard, especially SEIU International. April Threat is April Verrat, excuse me. I know April Threat, but April Verrat, a Cole's sister, just got appointed as the international president. She got voted in, not appointed, making history, being the union's first Black woman that is from Chicago. Then Greg Kelly, who's definitely been in the studio, and I got to have April on. I told her that she'll come on. I want her to speak to that. What does it mean to have the vast majority of the members you fight for are Black? So I want us to think about that. CPS don't have no union. That's why there's the Chicago Teachers Union. If it was up to CPS, there would be no union. It's for a purpose. When we come back, I got a special song that's going to play because it is our Madam Chairwoman and CEO birthday. That's right. Melody Span Cooper is celebrating another trip around the sun. And we thank God for her. So I want you all to join in when we come back. Give us some phone calls, weigh in, to be the second generation legacy owner of the voice of the Negro is no easy feat. And she does it every day. She shows up for us, which is why I'm able to show up for you, so on and so forth. So stay tuned. We'll be back.
More from Cleopatra coming up next on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
This week on the Rufus Williams Show, we're bringing you the conversation Chicago can't afford to miss. Wednesday on Bound and Woven, I sit down with Elizabeth Stoddard Pryor, daughter of Richard Pryor, to discuss her powerful new book, Something We Said. It's an intimate conversation about family, identity, race, legacy, and a certain word. Thursday, newly announced Chicago mayoral candidate and Illinois Secretary of State Alexi Giannoulis joins me live in studio. Why is he running? How would he lead differently? And can he convince Chicago voters he's the right choice? I'll ask the questions that we need answers to. Then Friday, we're live from the Millennium Park Metro Station, bringing you the voices of Chicago where the city comes together. Smart conversations, tough questions, no excuses. The Rufus Williams Show, weekday mornings from 7 to 9 a.m. on WVON 1690.
This summer, experience live music under the stars at Ravinia, everybody. Gladys Knight, Brian McKnight are going to headline, and they'll be joined by Chance the Rapper, and a special opening night gala performance featuring Lizzo with the Chicago Symphony Orchestra. See great performances all season long, from legendary voices to hometown favorites. Ravinia brings unforgettable sounds to the summer stage. Get your tickets now at ravinia.org.
WVON traffic and weather now.
Still no major changes in your travel times. We're still focusing on the Kennedy right now. That exit ramp is closed. It's actually the inbound off-ramp to Lawrence Avenue. There's some repairs happening there due to a damaged retaining wall because of last week's storms. Taking a look at our weather, bright and beautiful. The National Weather Service says we're headed toward a daytime high of around 86 today. 85 is our new high. Tonight, temperatures are expected to go down to around 66. But temperatures have been pretty much hovering in the low 80s for a while. We're still looking at 81 degrees at Midway, is 81 in Woodlawn, and 81 here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm in Illinois on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
1, 2, 3. I want to say happy birthday to you. I want to say happy birthday. Let's go. 1, 2, ready, go. Close your eyes and make that wish. Think about it and blow out your candles. Close your eyes and make that wish. Let's go. Think about it and blow out. I want to say happy birthday to you. I want to say happy birthday to you.
We want to say happy birthday, Melody Span Cooper. Our chairwoman and CEO is celebrating another trip around the sun. So if you want to join me in saying happy birthday to Melody, say happy birthday. And we're taking happy birthdays all day. You can take it to WVON's Facebook. You can go to our WVON app. You can drop a line, a tagline there, and tell her happy birthday. But another trip around the sun is nothing but a blessing. And in that year, she's done a lot. Went to Rome. She done a whole lot. Keeping up with Melody is amazing. But what she's done for Black Chicago, what she's done for Black America, what she's done for the globe is to keep the lights on. Keep these plates spinning. She taught me that a long time ago. She's kept a legacy going here at WVON, and we thank God for her. And if you want to join me in thanking God for her light and her life, you can give me a call, 773-591-1690. Now, I can't guarantee she ain't listening, but she can play back the tape, and we can always run the clip. Let's talk to Brother Hall. Brother Hall, welcome to WVON.
This is still my one and only Melody Span Cooper. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. We love you. We do. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, sister. Much love and respect.
Oh, that was beautiful. Oh, thank you
Thank
for
you,
that. I can't
sister.
wait for
Thank
her to
you.
hear that.
Yeah, well, she deserves that. And so thank you, Cleopatra, for your show today. That's basically what I wanted to call in and tell you that you've been on fire. You just can't stay at that level, sweetheart. You whooping these boys. And today you really, really, really laid it out. And many of your callers really respect and understand and can appreciate all that you put on the table today. Thank you so much. Much love and respect. We'll talk sometime this week, but it's about Melody and you today. Thank you,
I
sweetheart.
appreciate that. Listen, guys, and I see you all in the chat. Make sure you drop some love for her. You know, the more I grow and come to realize, and I love digging in the archives, right? So that's the cool part. That's the historian side of me, is really understanding beyond the inception, but the creation, the content that we drive, and the foci. The voice of the Negro is a distinguished voice that keeps the consciousness well. Because if your consciousness is well, all is well, right? And that is the food that we give for thought. That is the nourishment that I provide for not only our soul, but our minds, particularly when it comes to surviving America while being Black and being great in it. That is the excellence that we drive. And that is the hat that I tip to Melody for carrying on this light and its evolution. That is the streaming, the platform of Vaughn TV. She birthed that, right? And there's to continue to drive as a second generation Black owned business, legacy business, which is why I had Dr. Maidi Sensteak Rice in. To carry on a rich tradition, it has to be some weight that's heavy. But she looked good in it. She basked in it, and she's carried it on with grace and dignity. And to all my colleagues, I'm sure we're all equally proud of her. But on today, we just wanted to celebrate her. So the phone lines are lighting up. Let's talk to Jalen. Jalen, welcome to WVON.
Huh? Cleopatra?
Yes.
Oh, hi. Just want just have fun listening to you, and I just want to say happy birthday to Melody. Melody, hope she's doing well, and I enjoyed listening to her last Friday at the expo, and just enjoy the conference conversation table, and she's a very great woman, and I love to reach out to her and also reach out to you too. That WVON shaped my life, and just been inspired for all the world has done to Chicago.
No, I appreciate that. Excellent call, Jalen. I appreciate you being a staunch listener and supporter. Let's talk to Andre. Andre, welcome to WVON.
Good morning to you, Miss Cleopatra.
Good morning.
I just called to say happy birthday to Miss Melanie Spence Cooper. And I'd like to say that I've been with her on many occasions. I was with her at Purvis Band birthday party. I was with her down at the WVON 50-year anniversary at the Chicago Theater. And if she's listening, I'd like to say that was a fantastic thing to do. And if possible, could she consider having another anniversary for the WVON family down at Chicago Theater? God bless you, Melanie. I wish you many more birthdays. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for that. I appreciate that. I'll be sure to ring her bell about that. Folks always ask me, when we doing something? When the next this? When the next that? Well, you got to talk to the woman to keep the plate spinning and the man to bring in the loose change. I want to thank God for both Melody and Pierre for their commitment to what we do every day. Now, I want to be very clear. particularly in this era. So if you are a business and you're not advertising with us, then you can't be about us. You got to find it. This is an ecosystem, right? So if we know some excellent folk that not tuned in, you got to bring them in. Take it to the church, which is why I always remind us of how we can get plugged in. You don't have terrestrial radio, that's fine. You can find us on iHeart. Introduce us. Take us everywhere you go. This is how we keep Black excellence going, guys. This is how we build it. This is how we keep it alive. This is how we get to the third generation and the fourth generation of legacy building here at WVON. So to our Madam Chairwoman, Melody Spann Cooper, I hope you have a blast not only today, but throughout the year. I think a birthday is a celebration of life throughout the year, and if you granted another trip around the sun, make it fun. All right, guys, tomorrow is Fired Up Wednesday, coming in guns blazing. I am going to come and talk that Michigander talk because Michigan has the potential to change the trajectory of history in this moment, and all eyes will be watching. In addition to that, the analysis of Todd Blanche. The confirmation potentially has sailed through since I've been on the air, and we're going to talk it out with you. And I'll have on an author and a few more scholars to weigh in on what happened just last night. You don't want to miss this. Maddie Matt is coming up next. All right, guys, tomorrow only on the Cleopatra Show, 9 a.m. If you're tardy, bring a tardy pass.
I hope you're making the best of this grand and glorious day. I'm Kayla Patton, and in the headlines, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson is brushing off Illinois Secretary of State Alexi Giannoulias' recent decision to run for mayor. 3 people are hospitalized in good condition after their boat capsized in Lake Michigan on Chicago's South Side. And Mayor Brandon Johnson's budget chief is leaving ahead of a critical budget season. The Black Information Network is next on Chicago's original social media platform, 1690 AM, WVON, Berwyn, Chicago.
Here's BIN News Now. I'm Mike Island with BIN News Now. It's another big primary election day in America. Michigan's Democrat U.S. Senate race is the star attraction today, with progressive Abdul El Sayed up against establishment-backed Congresswoman Haley Stevens. Here's El Sayed speaking outside a Detroit restaurant.
I believe in the opportunity we have in front of us to take our democracy back from the likes of the corporations and the billionaires and the special interests who want to tell us what we cannot have and should not fight for.
Ballots also are being cast in Missouri, Kansas, Virginia, and Washington State. In Washington State, there have been reports of looting following the Spokane wildfires, but police have investigated and say those reports are unfounded. Spokane police, along with members of the Washington National Guard, are patrolling the evacuated areas. Now back to Terry McCready.
President Trump says Iran reached out to the U.S. to stop a planned massive strike. Speaking to reporters at the White House yesterday, he said he was urged by several countries, along with Iran, to hold off on the strike.
I don't want to use the word begging, but some were, in particular, Iran,